couldn't believe the team. What the fuck?
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
All right, guys, Monday afternoon, welcome to the show. Podcast. Lewis, the Puerto Rican rattlesnake.
Jay, go, man. Jay, don't put the J. You gotta put the J in there as well. Maybe it has to be the Puerto Rican rattlesnake Lewis Jay, don't it?
Okay, all right, whatever. Welcome to the show. How is everybody? Hope you're well. We got Brian and Alison, and we don't have anybody going to the weather. Well, we say that sometimes. We've got something to join us. This time we don't. How was your weekend, Lewis?
My weekend was pretty good. I've been, we talked last time, I'm on full-time dad duty this week, so I'm a little bit on edge at all times. I'm a little bit like, I'm trying to, I try to be a good dad and try to not be angry and tense in front of my son, so I just walk around sort of on edge, wanting to let it out, and every time you do, like, scream into the air. But you, I like to say, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Don't do it. Last year, you
birthday, Mr. President.
Yeah. All right. You saw that last year. Go back to last year. We did have fun at this. That you all get cake on my. There's a thing called UPS, the daily, the U.S. Postal Service, FedEx, many courier services around. If you really cared, you'd ship me a piece of cake as well.
I thought we probably wouldn't send it UPS. I just order it from a local cake shop, some Uber Eats, put your address in.
Whichever way,
there. We're bad friends.
Whichever way you want to do it. Whichever way. I mean, if you know a better, more foolproof way, then you could have done it. But you're all eating cake. You're getting fat, Lewis. I'm just saying, maybe you don't want to be having that cake.
Just so you know, I have cake. I'm not even going to eat it. I'm going to throw it away.
Whoa, you have to eat it. But I didn't have cake. I didn't have cake at all.
Really?
No. My wife knows I don't like cake. I did get homemade cookies though.
Okay, you got something sweet for you, but you don't like cake? That is the most grumpy human being thing in the world. I've never met a person who says, I don't like cake.
I don't mind it. It's not like I'm like, ooh, birthday cake, awesome. No, give me some nice chocolate chip cookies. My wife, I'm just going to say this right now, she makes the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. Simple as that. So, yeah, she had a couple of nice little gifts and a little bag of homemade cookies. There you go, nice and happy.
Very nice. If you had to eat cake, what would be your favorite cake?
Oh, I'm really an aficionado. But red velvet, there you go. Chocolate cake.
Red velvet is like the one cake. If somebody says they like red velvet cake, you're like, all right, this person dropped out of the fifth grade.
Yeah, well, I don't know every type of cake known to man, okay? I don't. Shoot me for it. Sue me for it. I don't care. Listen, people don't tune this podcast because of Michael and his amazing breakdowns of cakes. They don't want that. I don't know what goes into a cake, but I tell you what, when I see my wife make cookies and I see how much fucking sugar actually goes into them, it's insane.
You know what I found? I found a sugar-free cheesecake there's a place called Muscle Makers Grill, which is like a really awesome health food spot. It's very dudely, it's like, it looks like a gym. It's all like metal and fucking, it's got like grates everywhere, and it's just healthy food for like dudes, and they have a sugar-free cheesecake, and it is phenomenal.
You're not going to ask me what I got for my birthday, Lewis?
I was going to. That was actually my next question. Can you get out of my head?
No. It's okay. See this fine gentleman I have on my chest here?
I do.
You know who that is?
Is it your father?
No, it's not my father. Bloody hell.
Who is it?
It's not my father. I was looking. No. That is Harry Grant. Harry Grant. Very, very famous boxer, but in the early 1900s, 1920s, something like that. He had something like 270 odd fights and won most of them. A lot of them back then. Got his T-shirt, got the quote about his life, which is called "Live Fast and Die Young." Like, what are you trying to tell me, Rebecca? What the fuck? But the relevance of it is that I only recently came across Harry Grant. He was a guy that won the world title with one eye and hid it from everybody, and only told his wife and his close friends and things like that. So I was like, oh shit. So I started looking into this guy, and my wife surprised me with a book about him, a t-shirt, and a fishing rod, of all things. So I've got my own little fishing set now. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully one day I will catch a fish.
I love it. We've gone fishing together. Michael Bisping, I will say this, and with all due respect, you're a former world champion. You won the championship in one eye. It's incredible. You cannot catch a fish with one eye. You need both your eyes to catch a fish.
No. Well, I did just as good as you did. Mr. Fucking Judgment. My God. You just sat there littering the countryside.
I know. I just threw Cheetos at the
I caught a crab last time. When I went down to Huntington Beach Pier, I caught a crab.
But, I caught crabs in college.
But yet to catch a fish, there's a lake by my house. See, now I've got a fishing rod. We don't have to go rent the stuff. We just anytime we want, freedom. Anytime the notion takes me. But I'm like, bought gifts, but still, whatever. The very, very thoughtful gifts. Rebecca wrote a message in the book, a nice little fishing rod. I'm joking. Only thing I asked for is give me a new pair of trainers. You didn't get the trainers, shoes.
I think this is 3 years in a row you've asked for trainers.
Because it's every time I'm like, just give me a pair of shoes. You know what I mean? I'm easy. She says, what do you want? Pair of trainers, buy me a t-shirt. I'm good. A t-shirt and a pair of trainers, I'm happy. But to be honest, these are better gifts. Like the book I can keep forever.
Which sneakers?
Whatever. You know what I mean?
Maybe Dad will get you a pair of trainers.
Yeah, maybe he will, maybe he won't. But still, 42 goddamn years old. Crazy. I was driving home from Vegas Saturday night after class. Oh, because I was listening to a song. Thin Lizzy. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. You know the one.
I mean, that's not how it goes, but I know the song.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I totally butchered it. I can't sing. Sue me. I can't do everything to this. But I was driving back and I was listening. It's a good song. And I'm listening to it, I'm tapping my feet and popping my head on the 4-hour drive by myself. I was there, the boys are back in town, and I just remembered when I was a kid and I would walk to the pub with the boys and everything, and then that got me thinking, on the eve of my 42nd birthday, the boy is long fucking gone, and the boys are never coming back in town. And I was thinking, man, wouldn't it be awesome to be 21 fucking years old again? Knowing what you know now, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all the time, but it's like, if you could do it all over again, would you? Would you go back? If you can go back to 21 years old, just snap your fingers right now, you go back to 21 years old, you fix all those mistakes, you would do it all over again.
Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way things worked out. But I know I could have done a better job. Definitely. Everything. If you can go back and redo it, why the hell wouldn't you want to do it? But as they say, hold on, all the world is a stage. What is it? What's that saying? Oh my God. There's no reruns or whatever. I forget it. It's a Shakespeare quote. I'll surprise you as well. My Shakespeare.
How old were you when you had your kids? How old were you when you had Callum?
22. Rebecca was pregnant at 19. That went down well when we had to tell her mum and dad. No, but yeah, I think I was 22 and Rebecca was 19 or 20.
That's crazy. That's it's so young. I mean, back then it wasn't that crazy, or it wasn't that and often that people got pregnant and had kids at that age. But I think about now, like today, that is absolutely wild. I didn't grow up until I was maybe 30. That's when I started to mature, like just a little bit.
Yeah, Callum's 19, and we often say, because he's 20 in a couple of months, and we often say, wow, when we were Callum's age, certainly Rebecca, when Callum's a little bit older, as we had children. And Callum's still a child himself, of course, we're his parents, and we look at him like that. And the reality is he's a young man, but still in our minds, and in reality, he's still a baby, he's still a young man, still finding his way in the world. And yeah, we had kids, but honestly, I wouldn't change that aspect of things, because everything worked out perfectly. That's, and we're looking forward to it. I was thinking about this, because I know people that are my age, that are just having kids now, and yeah, they had a wild time when they were young, and they had a great time. But when they're still fucking changing diapers, nappies, or doing the drop-offs, or the homeschooling, or whatever, me and Rebecca, we're going to be flying around the world, no kids, drama-free, sitting on a beach, sipping Mai Tais in the Maldives. So fuck you all.
Yeah, look, my chick now that I'm dating, she told me she wants kids, and I'm like, if I could do it all over again, it's so much.
Steady on. I've only been with you 2 minutes, what the fuck? What's your name again?
I'll be 39 in 1 month. 1 month from today. I'm 39, which is, I'm almost 40. It's crazy. When I still think of like my friends' parents right now, I think of them as being like 45. I can't get it out of my head because when you see your friends from high school, that's how old you know, everyone's parents were. They were in their 40s, and I can never sort of wrap my mind around that all of my friends' parents are now like in their 60s or 70s, and we're all growing up. And I like getting older, but you know, dude, being younger, it was such a struggle, and it was for you too. I mean, we had like very different struggles, but it was so difficult to sort of get where I'm at now. And like I said, it wasn't until I was maybe in my 30s, early 30s, so I started really seeing some success. So it was just a whole bunch of struggle up until that point. I don't know that I would do it again. I don't know if I could do it again.
Well, it's part of the fun in trying. But still, yeah. There you go. All right. Well, I'm 42, and I've got no time to waste, Lewis. You know, that's my new thing now. 42, man. I can't be wasting time. So let's get the fuck into these notes and talk about. Well, that was a rather disappointing main event at the weekend, let's be honest, right? It was highly hyped. And it wasn't the best fight. It was a technical performance from Cyril Gane, but yeah, the reality is it was not the most exciting fight, you know, but go ahead, Lewis.
Well, people were hating on it. It was like, they were talking about it like it was Lewis and Gane. It wasn't that bad.
But not that bad.
Yeah, the expectation for, I think, these big heavyweights, especially these guys are both very, very, very well accredited kickboxers. You know, it's like, we're going to see a knockout. We're going to see explosiveness. We're going to see these guys knock each other's heads off. There's no way this fight's going 5 rounds. Well, sure enough, you know, look, you can't really blame Cyril Gane. He was fighting a damn near perfect fight. I mean, if you're doing what's extremely effective, staying safe, I think you even made that point at one point during the broadcast, it's like longevity is important, right? And people are only going to remember whether you won or lost. And if you're going up against a guy who can knock your head off, well, and you don't need to put yourself at risk. You can get in and get out, because he was really impressive. Cyril Gane's athleticism, he was moving around like he was a middleweight. You know, we talked last week about, what's his name? Oh my God. English guy was just on the show.
Darren Till, Leon Edwards.
No, heavyweight.
Oh, Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, we were talking about Aspinall. Very similar to Cyril Gane, just moves around, you know, very, very fast, very athletic, very explosive, but fought somewhat safe. Never really put himself in danger. I appreciated, as a fan of mixed martial arts and as a fan of the fight game, I appreciated watching what he did. It was a little, I think Rosenstruck was sort of the one that was more frustrating, because he wasn't really doing anything to progress in the fight, not really throwing more than 1 or 2 punches at a time. And, you know, Cyril, he said, fuck it, I'm just going to go coast to this, you know, unanimous decision. And I think it was 50-45. It wasn't as bad as people were saying, but definitely not a fight that you would show somebody that hasn't seen mixed martial arts before.
Yeah, you want to try commentating a fight like that, because it's our job to make it exciting, right? And it is kind of difficult. But, yeah, listen, it wasn't a classic. It wasn't certainly the worst fight. It wasn't an Ngannou, as you said, versus Lewis. And to be honest, I like Biggie Boy Jairzinho. I mean, I don't know him well, but the interactions that I have and when we speak to him, when we do the meetings, seems like a really, really nice guy. And he's a hell of a fighter, right? He's knocked out a lot of people, and he's not here by accident. He's here because he deserves it, and he's earned this spot. So, you know, I'll be as respectful as I can, but also at the same point, you've got to be honest. And the reality is that he never pulled the trigger. And I understand that, you know, when you're in there and the guy's big and you know the consequences and one shot can change everything and all the rest of it, it's hard and it takes a lot of courage. But the reality is that is why we get paid. And that's why they chose to be in the main event. And that's why there's a healthy, handsome fight purse at the end of it. Because that is our job, you know what I mean? Yes, the risk is there. The risk is there for all of us, but you've got to put yourself in that. That is. But I said about Cyril Gane, Cyril Gane could have done more as well. But he was coasting to a victory. He was fully in control of that fight. What he did, he controlled the range perfectly. He had the footwork to get in and out, land a fast jab. And for such a big guy, his jab was absolute fucking lightning. But he'd get in, he'd land the jab, he'd get out of the way. He'd land a few kicks, he'd get out of the way. You can't blame him for doing that. Why would you stand in the pocket against a massive guy like Jairzinho that has knockout power if you don't need to? Now, there is another side to it, because I remember I saw a quote from Dana. Dana spoke to some of the journalists, it might be David Martin. Shout out David Martin, saying, you know, look at what Ngannou did to Rosenstruck. And here's Cyril Gane, he's got all the future ahead of him and he never really pulled the trigger. I do understand Dana's point as well, and certainly as the promoter, you know what I mean, that's got to piss you off a little bit. As I said, they're getting paid handsomely. I'm not paying those paychecks. It's coming out of fucking the UFC and Dana's pocket, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you can understand the frustration a little bit. And yeah, Cyril, this is what I said. I mean, do you want to fight for the world championship? Do you want to show the world that you're one of the best? You know, Steve Miocic's out there, he's fighting in Ngannou, and John Jones is waiting in the wings, sure enough, and he did tweet Saturday night, Daddy's coming home soon, which is a pretty funny tweet. But Garnet, pardon me, he could have got out there and really put a stamp of approval on that fight, and like, you know, we would have been talking about it for very different reasons. Now, he looks sensational. He does look, he's incredibly explosively gifted and athletically gifted, and he has excellent striking, and he has good submissions, you know, and I thought, I can't blame him, and he passed the test. 50-45. Rosenstrike, he said, as I read today, he was very, very disappointed with himself as well. And rightly so. And listen, I've been there sometimes. I've never done that in a fight, but you know, sometimes you are a little more hesitant. And I get it. Remember, he's only one fight removed from getting knocked out against Francis Ngannou himself. So maybe there's still a little bit of, you know, there's a little gun shy from that, maybe a little residue left over from that fight. But, you know, the reality is next time, this is the thing, God won the fight. And people might say, well, what's the problem? He won the fight. What more do you want? Yeah, what's the fight? But there's also an entertainment factor. This is sport / entertainment. And people would say, well, fuck the entertainment factor. In sport-wise, this is who won the fight, right? By the rules, he won that 50-45. But that fight isn't going to sell out arenas. That fight isn't going to have clamoring people to see him again. So ultimately what it does, it affects your ability in the sport, because even though you're winning the fight, granted, if the idea for Cyril Gane to be involved with this sport is to make money. And the two go hand in hand. You've got to be exciting if you want to make money. If you don't want to make money and just be the best, great, but that could be a little bit boring, and you're not going to get the big paydays of what you'd like to.
And we've seen people that have fought with, you know, I don't want to say boring because it's a little bit disparaging, because it's not boring. Like, you look at somebody like George St. Pierre, I think there was a criticism of George that he fought very safe. He would always take his opponent out of his comfort zone, sort of fight his fight, and a lot of the time it was taken down, ground and pound. It was sort of just dominating position. On the striking side, I think I would almost compare it to a Lyoto Machida. You remember Machida was coming in, fighting very, very safe.
Yeah.
He didn't really need to, you know, explode and do anything crazy. When he was sort of coming up, I think that was a criticism of Machida. I think when you're undefeated, if you can stay undefeated and win a championship, you know, that is a long road to becoming a superstar. You just have to fight perfect. If Cyril Gane can stay undefeated, beat everybody in his way, become the world champion, and then he has that fight style where like people can't hit him, he's in and out, I think that there's definitely a path to becoming a superstar and a multi-millionaire, but it's a much longer path than getting in there and fighting down to your mouthpiece and just giving people a real show. Because his style is the style that can give people a real show. He can knock people out, he's good looking, he's Jack's fucking Diesel. You know, it's he's definitely got a lot of these factors and a lot of these variables that can turn him into a massive star. He just didn't really let it go. But maybe in this stage where he's still coming up, you know, he's still, you know, he's a new name to the UFC. Maybe it's a smarter thing to get a few of those wins, be undefeated, and start being known as the dude that can't be beat. There's two different trains of thought there.
Yeah, but the problem is for him now, as well, is that he's just been Rosenstrike. I think Rosenstrike, Strike, forget it, Jorginho, we call him. I think he was ranked number 4, you know, and then he just beat him. So he's still, I mean, this is the thing as well for Cyril. He's 18-0 now, I think. Or maybe that was his 9th fight, whatever it is. Yeah, so 9-0 now. He's still a baby. A lot of people aren't even thinking about the UFC. It took me, I was 10-0 when I got on the Ultimate Fighter. You know, so he got to the UFC about 6-0 or something like that, which is crazy. And now he's got no choice but to be taking on the best guys, because after that, unfortunately, he's probably going to be, you know, I mean, he's not ready for a Stipe Miocic, and I don't think he'd probably want that fight anyway. You know, he's got to work on his wrestling. Of course, he's got great striking, and he's got some submissions. We saw a head down choke, we've seen a heel hook, but the wrestling is where he's going to struggle. And if Daniel Cormier was around, that'd be a bad matchup. Stipe Miocic, of course, beat Ngannou and out-wrestled him as well. So the problem for him now is that he's in the deep end of the heavyweight division, you know, so he's going to have to think very, very carefully about his next matchup. And Jorginho, he's back to the drawing board. I mean, it's a shame for him because, yeah, he came in, great momentum, all knockouts, doing fantastic, knocks out Overeem, then gets smoked in 20 seconds by Ngannou. But that's okay, he comes back, rebuilds, beats Junior Dos Santos, knockout second round. Oh, he's back. And then he comes out again with this fight, doesn't perform, it doesn't really show up, you know, and he knows that. He knows that. I mean, that might seem like a harsh assessment But it's true, he didn't pull the trigger. What he had to do, because when he did explode, when he did go for it, there was one or two occasions where he exploded. There was one time, I think Cyril threw a kick, and he kind of caught it, and he rushed forward with like 3-4 hooks. And when he was doing that, he looked super fucking dangerous. It was like, whoa. But he just needed more of that.
That was the moment where his corner, I guess, his coach smacked the apron and made that big sound, because you had mentioned it in the broadcast. His corner must have been really frustrated, but they were like, "Go for it! That's what you need to do. Is you need to get this guy on his heels and start, pushing the pace." Because when he did that, Shield didn't look like he wanted to engage either. With some sort of fire stuff. So I think you were right to point that out while it was happening. And
It's smart. It's smart. Why would you want to do that? This guy's breaking his hand. Yeah, so do I. But Joe Dean is probably his opponent. So why would you do that? You're never going to fight somebody. You don't want to fight him a bad game. You don't want to say, all right, what's the best style of fight for him? Standing in the pocket and trading. Okay, fuck it, let's do that. No, you do the opposite of it. So Cyril had the correct game plan, but I would have liked it to be more tempo. It would have been busier. There was a lot of moments where they were standing there between each other and not a lot happening. Still could have stuck to the game plan, but just had more of a sense of urgency, broken down a little bit more. And if he had done that, maybe round 3, 4, could have got a finish, because the calf kicks and all the rest of it, and the punches, and it starts building up like a video game. Your energy bar is going down, and he's in round 4, and Jorginho's swinging like a fucking out of breath Godzilla. You're like, fuck it, let's go into the kill. He could have done that, but he didn't. But he got the win. So that's what matters at the end of the day.
Well, now I want to see Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gahn. I mean, is that not the fight to make? Isn't that a better matchup right now?
It's crazy because the heavyweight division right now has really got some good new contenders. We were talking, what's his name? Chris Dorcas is another guy. He's on fire right now. You got Tom Aspinall. There's a few. I mean, obviously we've got Cyril Gahn as well. Then you got all the old school guys. You got Steve as champion, Overeem, Volkov, all those people. But that is a dark horse. Well, the three young talent, it's Dorcas, it's Aspinall, and it's Cyril Gahn. And the problem is you're right, either one of them against each other would be awesome, and it's kind of a logical step for all of them to fight each other. But if I'm the UFC, if it was my promotion, I'm trying to keep them away from each other. You know what I mean? Because why do you want to burn them both out? Why do you want to take two really solid prospects like Aspinall and Dorcas, have them fight each other, and then one of them's got a fucking loss on the record? You know what I mean? Or one of them gets injured, or one of them gets knocked out, or one of them, falls from grace in terms of the public perception, and you lose that star power ability. If I was the UFC, I'd match both of them up with other contenders, other people that have been around for a while, and let them, when they're nearing the championship, they can match them up then.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I just think in terms of stylistic, I just want to see the fight. It seems like an awesome matchup. But Aspinall brings it, bring the heat. I don't think that Cyril Gahn could avoid being in a really exciting fight with but it just seems to make sense timing-wise to do just that time. And also, I don't think all three of them can be matched against each other, and it all makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's funny, you mentioned Tom Aspinall. I was just doing a quick live with Darren Till before we went on here. He texted me, he says, Mike, come on and do a live with me. I want to confront you about something. I'm about to start my podcast. He's like, I only need 2 minutes of your time. I'm like, all right, screw it, let's do it. And then I had to sign up for some, I had to follow his faster car insurance. So he's involved in that world now, apparently. So I had to go to that Instagram page. And then I get on and he's like, right, Mike, come on. Who's the fucking king of England when it comes to MMA, Mike? And I'm like, this is what you brought me on here for. So of course, I said, he was talking a bit of shit back and forth. But shouts out Darren Till, said he's going to jump on the show again next week and discuss his big fight with Marvin Casoli. So look forward to that.
All right, Mike, we must thank Carol Bikes for supporting today's show. Carol Bike is a really cool company. It's essentially a fitness trainer at home with AI algorithms that determine the optimal personalized resistance for each user. It's a bike. There's a lot of other bikes out there, but this one is really cool because it actually reads what you are putting out, your output, and then it will customize the workout for you and get you in the optimal conditioning zone.
Promo code is Mike, and you'll get. You just told me. Big solid. Okay. Trying to think what other fights were on the card, but I want to talk about which one was it? Which one was it at the Crazy Car Kick? So let me think of the fight card. You could talk something while I do that.
Yeah, no problem. So, yeah, that is another thing. I mean, we're seeing that in almost every fight now. Is these goddamn calf kicks. It was never even a discussion 6 months ago. Munoz Rivera was the one with the calf kicks. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Lydia Airplace. Calling like crazy. It's just so popular.
There
it is. There it is. There it is.
Podcast.
Bing, 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 bing. Oh yeah, Steve-O's podcast. That was a lot of fun. Let's have a look. Okay. He does talk a bit like that, doesn't he? Yeah. He's a good guy though. Results. Here we go. Yeah, co-main event, Magomed Ankalaev taking on Nikita Krylov. I thought that was going to be a sick fight, and it was a technical fight. It was highly contested, it was close, but he wasn't the barn burner I expected. Ankalaev, if you've watched him, he's a fucking killer, man. He's an absolute killer. So is Krylov. But it was a technical fight with a fair bit of wrestling involved, a lot of clinching. So good fight though, good technical battle. It wasn't, the jumping out of your seat war that I thought it would be. Before that, Maya Moreno Silva taking on Montana De La Rosa. Again, good fight for Maya Moreno Silva. She won that. Oh, that was a draw. That's right. Oh, she held the fence in the first round. Did you see that?
Yeah, she had a point deduction, right?
She had a point deduction. The referee, whoever the referee was, I'm forgetting that, he did not mess around. Straight away, point deduction. But I like that because, yeah, of course, because Montana was trying to take it down, and this is when he stepped in and take the punch straight away. When the fence grab clearly stops the takedown to the success. Sometimes you might still be able to beat a neighbor grab the fence, so let that one slide. You do it on your way down, and then you're like, oh, grab the fence, and stop the takedown. It goes hopefully be a thing of the past because Bueno Silva should have got a win bonus, but that fence grab, lost it, big time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of split on it. I mean, I think sometimes you need to give them a warning. But I guess if it's truly the difference between somebody winning or losing a round, that one takedown, how early in the round was it?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think it was like towards the end of the first round. I think it was, yeah.
Because at that point, the ref doesn't know if it's going to make the difference whether that person wins or loses a round, right? Because there was no warning, automatic point deduction. So it's not like he made the decision based off of the fact that it changed the outcome of the round. It was, he just
but
around.
it may have changed the outcome of the round because Montana De La Rosa, typically the way she fights, she likes to use wrestling, get her opponent down on the floor. And Bueno Silva, she's a very hard-hitting Thai boxer. You know what I mean? So the game plan is clear. Take her down to the floor. And by grabbing the fence, that stops her from implementing her game plan. So therefore, it's a clear breach of the rules. Therefore, I have absolutely no choice but to remove one. You got to take a point.
Have you ever grabbed the fence piston?
Fucking right I have. What do I look like? Some fucking non-fence grabbing motherfucker? No, Michael the fence grabber fisting, as I was known in certain circles. No, wasn't much of a fence grabber. Although there was one time when I fought with Sean Evans, I grabbed the fence a few times, and Greg Jackson, who was in the corner, was screaming his head off at Dan Mergliata. He's grabbing the fence, and I was on my ass going, shut the fuck off. Argued back and forth, and then Dan Mergliata came over and said, hey man, you grab the fence a few times, you're going to be careful with that. I'm like, okay. And then another time I grabbed it, and he looked, he's like, don't do it. And I'm like, I fucking like Dan Mergliata, because I think he caught me 3 or 4 times and didn't take his points. So I'm like, I want Dan in my corner. And then I think after a fight, 2 fights after that, who was it? What was his name? Not Alan Belcher, whatever. I was fighting someone and I elbowed him. Finishing move was an elbow, and it was definitely in the back of the head. I didn't mean to, but he moved, you know what I mean? But it was the back of and it hits him in the back of the head, and that was the end of the fight. And as I did that, he dived in and stopped the fight, and I'm like, oh, fuck, did he stop it to disqualify me? Or, you know what I mean? And then it's only when I had my hand raised, I was like, oh, God, but I'm like, it's Big Dan. Big Dan lets me do whatever the fuck I want. Joking, by the way, Big Dan. Just a great guy. I'll do a cup of tea for you, baby.
I would love a cup of coffee, remember?
Yes, Lewis would love a cup of coffee. But yeah, there you go. So, that fight, I think what else did you have? Jimmy Rivera versus
That was a great fight.
What an amazing fight. absolutely. I take my hat off to both of those people. Jimmy Rivera, man, he just hits so fucking hard, and he took so much damage. I mean, that calf, and this is where we were talking about it, and I made a joke at one point saying, we got to get rid of these calf kicks, because at least every fight card, there's one fight or one fighter that gets absolutely brutalized due to those calf kicks, you know, and they're so bad. And you see some people, they can't stand after 3 or 4 kicks, and they get kicked again, and they fall on the floor. Jimmy Rivera is just so tough. He just continued fighting through it, but yeah, they are a devastating technique.
So the rumor is, and I've seen a couple things. People talk about how they can't be defended, you can't check a calf kick, and then I'm assuming these are some sort of, you know, couch mixed martial artists. They're like, you can too, and in Muay Thai they teach you how to do it with your foot and this, that, the other. I don't really know, but if you can't defend it, why wouldn't everybody just start using calf kicks? Why wouldn't everybody that kicks just start attacking the calves nonstop?
Well, number one, those little backbench dickheads, right? Did they ever live in Thailand for several months and live with the Thais and train? Because I did, and I know this. There was no mention, calf kick. But now we're going to do calf kick. Okay, Michael, so I did half, today we went on calf kick. No, not that. There's no such fucking thing as the kind of opposition that I saw. I went out there, I got I did the running, I did the skipping the rope, I did the little blind hero, giving me a massage in between rounds, okay? I did everything, okay? I did not get the fucking calf kick breakdown, okay? I didn't see it. I'll tell you another reason. So the calf kick, you can't see it. Because there's just a lot of muscle there, and there's not much bone. When you check a general leg kick, you lift the knee, you hope to block it with the top of the shin or the bottom of the knee. It's a big, thick, solid piece of bone. If you block the kick, it hurts your opponent's shin bone. So much so that it can even break. You Google it, everybody knows. You can find many, many instances where people's legs have completely fucking snapped. That's how hard, how painful checking a leg kick is. That's why they say, if you're fighting a really good kicker, somebody that uses leg kicks, pardon me, as soon as you check them, they won't throw them again. I remember I fought Cyril Diabati, who's a very, very well-known kickboxer from France, and he came out, and I trained in Thailand for 2 months with this, and the checking of kicks was on point. He came out, he threw a heavy one, blocked it straight away, never threw another one the entire fight. It fucking hurts. But with the calf kick, here's another reason you don't really see it. When you're fighting, you're looking at your opponent, you're looking at them maybe in the eyes, it's a little weird, looking in the eye, maybe the chin, the chest. There's a reason people can see most of it, right? But here's when people have the hand go, when the fight is get confident, the hand go, the confidence of the there's a confidence of the sound. It also makes the fingers like this, to here, you're not seeing a little calf nice and low, you know what I mean? And then of course, if you've got longer legs, you get taller, then you don't have to get into the pocket and land the calf kick. It's a very, very, very effective tool, and I'm excited to see the evolution in how people find the way to counter it, because it's coming. I mean, the main thing you can do is just get out of the way. Just get out with quick enough legs to lift over it or push back, step away. Because if you check, you push your leg out to check it, it's still going to connect with the calf. There's still going to be a little bit. You might hurt them a little bit with your, because you don't want to check with your tibia. Tibia down here at the bottom. Boy, but down here it's thin. Up here it's hard. It's hard. This is where it's fucking 80 degrees here today. It's boiling. It's very, very hot here, so I was just sunbathing a little bit. No, but at the top this is thick. The knee, that's hard as fuck. Down at the bottom it's thin. So you don't want to check fucking kicks there anyway. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to chop you up big time.
So what would you do? How would you check it? What would just the defense is move out of the way?
Knock the fucker out.
Yeah, punch him, right? The best defense is a good offense, the age-old saying.
No, but that is generally though. Either push away, step out of the way, lift your leg up, step over it, or to do those in great reflexes, or every time they throw a kick, boom, a right hand straight down the middle. And that's the counter for any kind of back leg kick. So, yeah, but they are a two,
after the fight, when we were announcing the winner, you saw both of them actually kind of beat up, to be honest. So, yeah, that's just like, it's one of these things where it's like, I was watching with my chick actually, and she was like, does that even hurt, like leg kicks? Because it doesn't, if you've never taken a leg kick, it doesn't even look like it hurts.
It fucking hurts. It hurts a lot. Anyway, so there you go, calf kicks. Fortunately, they weren't around in my day. That's all I'm going to say. I did Steve-O's podcast this morning, like you said, and he was asking me. I was like, no, did not exist. I do want to talk about this. Paulo Costa was in the news. Harrington, show yourself. Point number 2, Paulo Costa explains what did him in the first round with Israel Adesanya and gave his reasoning as to why he would dominate a rematch. So, I'm going to allow you to explain if this just smells like sour grapes or excuses, maluses, whatever you want to call it, but go ahead, please.
Ironically, he was drinking sour grapes.
Ironically, he was.
Yeah, all right. Exactly that. Paulo Costa says that, he needed a sleep aid. He was on Fight Island. He got in there. His sleep was all messed up. He'd been awake for over 24 hours. He just needed to get some sleep. Started with a glass of wine, ended up, at a half bottle, then a full bottle. Essentially, in the quote here, he says that he was still a little drunk when he got into the cage there. I had a very different sensation. I don't think I told you that, Samara. I enter every fight very active, of course. I'm afraid of getting hit or knocked out, so I'm always paying close attention. For this fight, for the title, I was sleepy and not even a little worried about getting hit. I didn't feel anything. It was very strange. I had no hype in thinking I was going for the title. I was totally serene. I was so calm that it scared me. The loss happened, but if I had lost him being 100% healthy, then I would have lost. Then I would have been a lot more upset because someone would have defeated me for real. But since my loss happened under the circumstances I mentioned earlier, I'm hoping I have time again. We cut him the right way.
I lost my title fight. Listen, you fucking lost. You got beat. You didn't show up. You didn't try and fight. You took a sleep aid. Yeah, you looked half asleep. You looked half asleep in that fight because you didn't do fuck all. Saying he was drunk in the octagon still, don't buy that. Why don't I buy that? Well, because they're in fucking Abu Dhabi and they're doing it on California time. So he didn't walk into the octagon until fucking 6 o'clock in the morning the day after. So unless he was getting pissed that day without going to sleep, that's highly unlikely. A bottle of wine, fucking, I'll do 2 bottles of wine. I'll be drunk, but I'll still be okay the next day. Harrington, what?
Well, devil's advocate, I have before.
A bottle of wine.
When I was a drinker, I have gotten so drunk the night before that I tried to sleep it off. I woke up the next day, still pretty hammered, having to go to my job as a Little League umpire.
Are you trying to tell me there is a phenomenon that exists that when you drink so much, you can still be tipsy in the morning? Are you explaining that to me? I have no idea.
This thing's entire career.
42 years on this planet, I woke up fucking rather tipsy. And it was always like this. How do you feel this morning? Well, I shouldn't have driven to work this morning, that's for sure. do you know what I mean? It's a classic. You go out, you have a heavy night, but you're still going to do a Saturday morning shift at the factory. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm fucking hammered here. And a lot of people, they do get pulled for that. And I'm ashamed to say that maybe I've got behind the wheel before the night after sleep. Listen, that does happen. I don't think a bottle of wine is enough to have that. And as I say, with the time difference, I do have a little bit of an issue believing that story.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's true or not true, a bottle of wine is not enough to be absolutely drunk or really affect you. Maybe a little bit of a headache the next day, a little bit of hungover, but not being full drunk. I remember one time I got drunk when it was like, the first time I got hammered, I was like 16, 17 years old, and we just drank maybe a dozen drinks, like vodka sodas, I was just chugging them. And I was drunk for a full 24 hours. I woke up the next day and I was still straight up drunk. But it was so many drinks, and I was such a young kid, I wasn't used to drinking. 1 bottle of wine for a guy as big as Paulo Costa, also the way he dresses, you assume that this guy knows how to drink.
The weight cut probably affected how much water he had in his body, though.
The weight cut would affect your ability to hold the alcohol. But listen, I've been here. I know this phenomenon. So I've indulged in a couple of drinks the night before a fight.
Are you saying that you've been intoxicated?
I have been intoxicated before, and I have been intoxicated the night before a fight. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm proud of that, you know. For Paulo Costa, I've got to wonder how much of the pressure was a factor for him doing. You know what I'm saying? Was the pressure getting to him a little bit? And in terms of, yeah, a bottle of wine, it is enough. If you drink a bottle of wine, you don't drink it. All jokes aside, that will be enough the next day to impact your performance in a negative way. Okay?
Right, especially at that level where you have extremely high level athletes that are, you know, going up against Israel Adesanya, who has, you know, the reflexes of a cat. He's everyone's #1 pound for pound guy right now. Without a doubt, you don't want to lose any edge. I'm just saying that this also might be something that Paulo Costa needs to do in order to get himself mentally, giving himself that excuse. Maybe he can, that's just sort of what gets him motivated, where he's going, you know what, I wasn't 100%. And if he needs to tell himself that, then fine, I'm not hating on it, but he should just keep it to himself. He shouldn't tell the media that, he should tell himself that.
Yeah, no. I think there's been a couple of excuses now. I think there haven't been. I think there has been. I think this isn't the first excuse of Costa that we've had. There was something else at the time. The reality is he didn't show up in that fight, and he's trying to excuse it. He's trying to come up with things and sleep aids and this and dick pills and bottles of wine and fucking silk shirts and Harrington, whatever you got. Oh, nothing. Okay, don't make that face like you're about to say something. You were gonna go. You were like,
I'm sorry. I'm pulling up an article. I didn't even know I was on camera. I'm sorry.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, no, listen, at the end of the day, he got beat, and it was a bad loss, so he's pissed off, you know. And maybe he did have some wine as well, you know. But I as a human being, we do that, you know, and it's only natural as human beings, you know. You don't want to accept that you got your ass kicked. You don't want to accept that the guy is better. It's like, we were talking about this last week about Dominic Cruz when he lost to Henry Cejudo, you know. He played Keith Peterson. He was an early star big with the referee, smelling cigarettes and alcohol. And I get it, and now we've got Paulo Costa drinking a red wine the night before. But because what are the alternatives? The alternatives are admitting, saying to the world, I, as a professional fighter, on my best form, went out there and got my ass kicked royally. You know what I mean? And that is, you know, that's not good for him to accept that. His ego won't allow him to accept that. Maybe that is what happened, but I suspect it wasn't. And I understand, because as fighters, you're going to have ultimate confidence. So you're going to almost convince yourself that, no, I would beat him. If everything was perfect, I'd destroy that guy. But on this occasion, it wasn't for this reason.
And I think in any time you lose at anything, not even just in the fight game, in anything in the world, you can sort of go through the beats of what happened and figure out what you should have done differently. Everybody can step back, hindsight is 20/20. So yeah, he probably should have drank when at court. It's not that I don't believe him that he didn't have a few drinks. I don't think he's lying about that. I think that he's convincing himself that that's the excuse, and he probably even believes it.
100%. I'm sure he does believe it. I'm sure that he did have, you know, a little bit of wine. Maybe had a full fucking bottle. Who knows? He does 2 glasses is half a bottle of wine. Right? When I used to weigh in for my fights, when we'd all get together, all the team, all my friends and family that are following me, all my team, anyone else who knew that was in the area, sometimes there were 30 people. It was very expensive dinners. But still, at those dinners, I would always have myself a shandy, which is a beer mixed with Sprite, lemonade, you know, half that, a good shandy and a hot day fucking delight. You want to shove it, you want a card. So I was like, cards then, boy, I'm refueling with energy. With energy. I'm a fucking guilty fucking premium unleaded. What are you talking about?
It's healthy. It's actually a healthy choice right now. You need the carbs to burn for energy. You're going to burn that at an optimal, you know, amount, and you're going to perform at your high capacity.
Exactly. So listen, you know, he's just trying to find excuses. I said it before, excuses and loosies. Find your neck in nooses. What do you want, Hunter?
So I did look it up. He was blaming it on an undisclosed injury that he had suffered in training for the fight. He also did mention he had a broken pussy.
Oh. Well, I mean, after all, no, I like it. A bit disrespectful for the warriors, the samurais that suffer and sacrifice their own bodies for our entertainment. You know, that level, a little bit disrespectful, but a good one.
He was disrespecting the audience by getting drunk in a bottle of wine the night before. I paid for that fight.
So was Garzino, Roman Shirt, and Cyril Garvin. You sucked their dick before.
That's a Cyril Garvin's dick. That fucking big fat French guy.
He wants to fucking suck a business dick.
If I gotta choose one, I'm fucking sure going pick. Let's get real.
Hey, ladies, French. Anyway, go on.
So he did mention the injury, he did mention the lack of sleep. He also said immediately in the post-fight presser after that he talked to his camp, he knew exactly what the problem was, and he wouldn't let it happen again. So that does lead me to believe that maybe he knew, hey, I got a little too drunk last night, the whole no sleeping thing, having to fly to Abu Dhabi for this fight. You know, there's a lot of factors in Costa where this does line up.
Listen, it doesn't matter. Sorry to cut you off there, Anthony, but the reason being, and I know you were just going to further bolster his point, right? But at the end of the day, we as human beings, we're all in control of our own bodies, right? And nobody put a gun to his head and said to drink that wine. And if he's now blaming the loss on the fact that he drank wine, but then that is his fault in preparation, because he basically needed to do to win the fight, and then it's nobody else's fault but his own. It sounds like I'm being hard, but I'm not. That's the reality of the situation. You know, as I said before, as fighters, we don't want to accept our shortcomings because it can be detrimental to our confidence going forward. But also, you've got to be realistic. You can't just be in denial. You have to accept what went wrong. You have to be man enough to look yourself in the mirror, to look at the fight, watch it, break it down, and coach it and say, well, fuck, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I engage more? Why didn't I try and counter here? Why was my output so low? They're the questions that it should be asked, not putting things out there in the media saying I'm trying to spread wine. The reality is, the sport has moved on from that fight. That was back in when? August, September or something? It's moved on. Adesanya fights Blahovic next month. Don't embarrass yourself further by making excuses. Say, you know what, I got beat by the champ, but guess what? I'm going nowhere. I'm going to win 2 more fights. I'm going to beat Robert Whittaker, and I'm going to get to do this again. I made mistakes last time, but when I get a rematch, I won't fuck up that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, you know, it's almost, it's just a psychological thing, and if it helps him get through it, and it helps him in his mental preparation for Robert Whittaker, and he goes, you know what, I'm going to be perfect this time, I know the mistakes I made last time, it's only a good thing, whatever, you know, more power to him. If that's, you know, we watched fucking Jan, he carries a piece of rope around that he puts around his wrist now because it's good luck. That's all just mumbo jumbo horseshit. It's not real. Good luck doesn't exist. Magic isn't real. But if it convinces him that that is an edge, and if he puts it around his wrist and he trains with it, and he in his head, there's religion magic.
No. I don't not believe it's magic. I'm not so foolhardy. But Lewis, are you not the one that on the first Monday of every month or whatever you start the day going rabbit, like a total fucking loser?
You should have seen when I told his family that all those kids were so into rabbit. You should have seen how angry it made him. He was like, if somebody's just fucking
You're talking shit and you're contradicting yourself with that. I don't do none of that. You do that rabbit, buddy.
I didn't say that I didn't do it. I said that magic doesn't really exist. But if you have a lucky hat, and you believe that lucky hat brings you luck, you are going to perform at a different level. It's just psychological. It's a mental
placebo effect.
Yes. So that ultimately is what I break it down. So I think there's a mental, psychological benefit for him to sort of get himself psyched up and to come up with this. I don't look at them as excuses. I look at it as just sort of mental preparation. So I'm not hating on it, but let's just get
No, I'm not hating on it either, but there's a fine balance. You know, you do need that to a certain degree. But also, as I said before, you've got to be realistic. You've got to look. Because if he's going to fight, let's just say he was fighting Adesanya again. He just sticks to his guns and said, no, it was the sleep aid, it was the wine, it was all that. He, strategically, nothing's changed. I was perfect. The same thing's going to happen. What he needs to do is, or anytime you lose, you have to sit down, you've got to be honest with yourself and think, right, why did I lose and what can I do to prevent that from happening again? Of course, drinking red wine the night before would be an obvious one. But changing your strategy would also be another one, because standing there in the middle of the octagon, calling him on and being no coffee, but then not actually throwing anything, and eating lots of calf kicks and leg kicks and all the rest of it, that is not how you win that fight. But still, we're not here to shit on Paulo Costa. I think he's a tremendous fighter, and he's very, very exciting. I can't wait for this fight with Robert Whittaker, which is going to be an absolutely sensational one. We're seeing a lot of boxers and MMA guys go to boxing and YouTubers boxing and all the rest of it. Well, we have, who is it? I know it's Frank Mir that I'm talking about. What's the main event?
Harvard. The main event is Ben Askren versus Jake Paul.
Oh, yeah. So we've got Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. Okay, that's a big fight that people are talking about. And can't believe I just said that sentence. But still, on the undercard of that is Frank Mir taking on Antonio Tarver, which is a boxer, a world championship boxer in Tarver, a guy that has a knockout victory over Roy Jones Jr., I would say around about the time of his prime, taking on Frank Mir. He's a jiu-jitsu specialist who has very, very heavy hands, but was more known for his grappling in the UFC.
And even when he was getting knockouts, it was like knees, and it was like kickbacks. And it wasn't like he had these crazy like punches where he was knocking people out. He had the knockout of the pro cop with the knee to the head.
Yeah, a boring fight as well, but then he caught it near the end of that knee. No, listen, Frank's great. He's a legend of the sport. He really is. And he's been around it forever and ever and ever. Tremendous grappler, heavy hands, great fighter. Nothing but respect for him. But I don't like this matchup. I don't like it at all. I don't like the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren matchup. What's happening here? Fighters, MMA fighters, UFC fighters that have a big name are being brought over to these mock boxing events as sacrificial lambs for them to say, hey, look how good we are. We're destroying all the UFC talent, or MMA talent. So the MMA talent are fighting good boxers, like Jake Paul, but fucking Antonio Tarver, did you think of his record, right? I mean, guy is a tremendously ferocious fighter, lots of experience, been in there with some of the best in the world, multiple-time world champion. I think he went to the Olympics as well. I think he might have got a silver or a bronze at the Olympics. The man's a beast, the top of the food chain, and he's not that old. So you got to think that has to favour Antonio Tarver. Let's fucking see Antonio go over to the UFC and what's going to happen there. I mean, that'll end real quick.
Yeah, 31-6 is his record, and his most recent professional boxing match was August 14th, 2015, a draw with Steve Cunningham. Yeah, I mean, look, I love Frank. I'm a really big Frank Mir fan. When I first got into mixed martial arts as like a hardcore fan, Frank Mir was one of the guys on top. This is, right after Arlovsky and Tim Sylvia, sort of, they had their back and forth. Frank Mir came in, and he won the title, I think, from Tim Sylvia, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So Frank's great, okay, and I think he's a good dude as well. Every interview I've seen him in, he's a good dude. He's a family man. His kids do martial arts, but I think that this is a tough fight. But I don't think Frank Mir. I heard his comment. I saw him on social media talking about it. He was like, "I'm going to test myself," and that's also probably not a good sign. Somebody's saying, "I'm going to test myself."
No, listen. Test myself. He's going to get paid. That's what he's going to get. He's going to get paid. Good for him, because I don't know if he's still fighting anymore. Did he retire? I know he's with Bellator now, but still, whatever. He's going to get a good paycheck.
Free agent, actually. So
free agent.
He fought his last fight in Bellator against Roy Nelson, won the fight, and then they decided not to re-up his contract. He looked like he was going to go to BKFC, and then this popped up.
Got it. Hey, listen, I'm always happy. Guys after the UFC, I like to see them making money. Good for Ben Askren. I still think that favours probably Jake Paul, that fight, because the wrestling can't be you. Yeah, of course, for Ben, he's got the high level experience, he's got the competitive nature and all the rest of it. But it's boxing. Antonio Tarver will probably, unless Frank catches him with something, he's not as good as a boxer as Antonio Tarver. That's just it, plain and simple. Yeah. Now, there's many different factors that can get you a victory. You might fight harder, you might be more aggressive, you might be in better shape and just throw non-stop. Who knows what those are? But Antonio Tarver was a world-class boxer. Frank Mir was a world-class fighter that relied heavily on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And listen, I'm happy for Frank, I'm happy for Antonio. I hope they all make a shit ton of money. But how about they pick somebody from fucking the UFC that has good hands? Do you know what I mean? At least Conor was a striker when he fought Floyd Mayweather. Right. But unfortunately, he's going against a guy that was 49-0. 49-0, one of the best reps doing. Let's bring, you know what I mean, Adesanya against someone who's a good boxer. Do you know what I mean? Or a Blachowicz against a good boxer. Somebody that likes to use their hands. You know what I mean? Not somebody that likes to grapple. What the fuck?
I mean, the downside of that is we would still probably watch most mixed martial artists, even at the highest level, lose against most professional boxers. It's a different sport. It is very, very different. And just like we'd watch most boxers lose, and this is the age-old thing. I mean, watching James Toney get his ass kicked by Randy Couture is one of the most enjoyable things that I've ever seen in my entire life. It was just so fun. And I remember right after Randy Couture beat, what's his name? I just said it, Jesus Christ. Right after James Toney, right after Randy Couture beat James Toney, James Toney was like, all right, well, now how about you come over to boxing? And do you remember what Randy said?
What do you say?
He's like, hell no, he'll kill me.
Yeah.
Just
Well, no,
like that.
listen, that's very honest and decent of Randy to say that, and he's right. That would have happened, you know. But I'm not against it. I'm happy they're all making money, but they're just cherry picking. They're cherry picking stylistic matchups. You know what I'm saying?
Do you inherently root for the mixed martial artists in those matchups? Like you're rooting for Frank Mir, you're rooting for Ben Askren, or no? You don't really have the horse in the race.
No, I mean, listen, I always wish my brothers in arms the best, shall we say, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, it depends on the storyline going into a fight, depends how people are acting going into a fight, depends on my personal relationship with that person, if I have one. You know what I mean? There's many factors. So at this moment in time, I'll for sure I'll be rooting for Frank. I wish him all the best. And as I say, I mean, as you said as well, you know, the guy's got heavy hands, he's got knockout power. He could probably do it, but he won't. You know,
I think he's a lot bigger than Antonio Tarver. Antonio Tarver's 6'2". I don't know how much he weighs, but Frank Mir, true heavyweight, cut down to 265 for
Frank's
a lot of his
massive.
fights. Yeah, Frank's a huge guy, so that's a factor as well that we may not be considering, the size difference. I'm rooting hard for any mixed martial artist against any boxer. I'm rooting hard for Ben Askren.
No, me too,
Yeah.
for the most part, as I said, you know, unless they're a total dickhead. And there's a few of them around. Looking at these notes, what else should we get into? We've got a lot of questions today. Thank you very much for sending them in. bynpod@gmail.com if you've got any more. All right, today's episode is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. You know the deal. Sheath make the most comfortable boxer briefs that I have ever worn. And if you took the plunge and try them, you will see what I am talking about. If you are sick of boxers that are too loose or briefs that are too tight, Sheath is for you. And here's what makes Sheath unique. It is the stretch sheath fabric. It's made out of moisture wicking technology. I don't have too much moisture down there, I'll be honest, but if you have a moisture guy, you have a sweat problem, guess what, these will wick. Designs are fantastic.
This is sort of news.
It's about the boyfriend, whoever it is, with the moisture wicking, licking, dicking. Let's get back into it. What do you want to go about? I was going to say Max Holloway, but we talked about the people sparring less more and more these days. We've talked about that quite a lot recently. So,
well, there's not much of a conversation. Yeah, there's not much of a conversation there, but we should mention this is sort of news right now. Masvidal, he announced, he did an interview, sort of an off-the-cuff interview, and he announced that his next fight is going to be against Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, which is, it's not really news as such. It's news maybe that it's definitely being booked, but we knew it was trending in that direction. I think even David said they were working on that. So, I mean, that's good. That's good for Masvidal. Gets another shot. It's very good for Usman. You know, I wonder if that rematch will be bigger than the original one. I don't think it will. They did 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. I hope it is. I hope it is for the company. I hope it is for Masvidal and for Usman and everybody involved. I do. But I just think that was the perfect storm last time. Masvidal taking on short notice. That injects excitement. It was the first pay-per-view after a while because of the pandemic. It was Fight Island. There was a ton of hype about Fight Island at the time. Everyone was like, wow, you know. Remember how excited people were about Fight Island when it first got announced? So there's a lot of things going in its favor.
It was the only sport that was available. There was no professional sports at all, no competitive sports, no live events, nothing. So it was the one thing to watch. But on the other hand, it is a rematch. Rematches typically sell better than the original fight, and they have a full however many months to promote the fight and to build a fight card around that fight specifically. I don't remember who was on the undercard for the first fight, but that was a short notice fight. Who fell out of the fight originally?
If I'm not mistaken, it was Gilbert Burns, no?
No, was it Tyron Woodley? No, it wasn't Tyron Woodley. Yeah, no, fuck no. I don't know. That's a good question, Lewis. I don't know why I don't recall that. But, yeah, listen, either way, it's going to be, listen, Masvidal's exciting. He really is. And he did a good job in that first fight of stopping the takedowns. He got tired as the fight went along, but people genuinely do get tired as fights go along. When you get to doing 5 rounds in an MMA fight, it's tiring, right? He was able to do that, and he was able to fight back. But I don't think he's going to come in that much better shape, you know. So, I mean, early prediction would be you're going to lean towards Usman because he's looked so bloody good lately. He's looked sensational. The strike is getting better every time we see him. But Masvidal's super exciting, and he's got that power, you know, to turn people's lights out. So, yeah, man, that's great. Very, very excited for it.
It was Gilbert Burns. He pulled out on July 3rd, and then Masvidal agreed. They had the fight done in less than a week on July 11th. The interesting thing there, Masvidal said that the fight will not be happening until sometime in either late August, early September. My question for you guys, are they going to then, like, does that give them enough time to build a season of the Ultimate Fighter around them? And if they do, will that build up the hype to beat that 1.3 million pay-per-view buy number?
Well,
go on, Lewis. I'm sorry, I say, is that rumored to be targeting an Ultimate Fighter season?
Oh, yeah.
It is, okay. Pretty good, but
when Hamilton disappeared, when
so the fight itself, Masvidal's quote was, they were asking about boxing Canelo, and he's like, I'm not worried about, you know, he gave the response that you have to give as a fighter, which I think was a pretty unfair question to ask Masvidal in that role. He was there as a commentator. He said, I'm more focused on, you know, my fight training. I have a belt I'm going after in, he said August, no wait, I think it's September. So because they're giving them until late summer, early fall, I'm asking, like, you know, is that enough time to film The Ultimate Fighter over the spring/summer and then give them that time to prepare for a championship?
Well, yeah, of course. It's September, the end of the good year. 6 months ago. 6 or 7. We're only at the end of February or the first day of March. You know what I'm saying? So it's about 6 or 7 months now. So yeah, it is. I don't know if they're going to be the Ultimate Fighter. I would like to see that. I think Masvidal and him on there arguing will bring a lot of heat. Obviously, it's going to support the cast. It will bring some changes to the format. That would be awesome. But go ahead, Hamilton.
Well, did you see Usman's actually like started to play the trolling game a little bit?
No, I saw you put something in the notes about that. Go on. But what did he do? Is there something that he did with dancing or something?
So Usman, you know, he posted, he said, I'm back in training already, getting ready for my next fight. He kind of hinted at the Masvidal fight being in the game too. It was 13 days after he beat Gilbert Burns. You just see him in the cage, moving around, throwing the jab, and then foot stomp.
Oh, sorry, yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah, he's just messing about, having a bit of fun. No, sorry, that's what you referred to. I saw that he was just like drilling the foot stomps. Yeah, okay, whatever. You know, I quickly scrolled past it. Come on, I'm like, all right, that's cute. It's funny. They got a little smile, cut on the mouth, little smile. Oh yeah, that's cool. That's it. But yeah, great fight. What else do we have on here?
Well, real quick before we move on, I kind of want to just say real quick, Kamaru, I feel like he's in an interesting position right now, where he is. You know, a lot of MMA insiders think he's, you know, the best of the best. Think he might be number 1 pound for pound. But I think the Ultimate Fighter might be an opportunity to showcase his personality, because I feel like I don't really know Kamaru's personality from what I've seen so far. I don't know if it's...
We had him on the show. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying we've had him on the show. I still can't put my finger on how I would describe Kamaru's personality.
He's a very, very nice guy. He is. He's not the big. You know, he's a smart guy. He's a nice guy. He trains hard. He's very polite. He's very respectful. He's a good person. You know, the person that I know, and granted, I don't know that well, but all my interactions with him, they've all been very, very positive. But he's not the type of guy that's going to make a fool out of himself in the Ultimate Fighter. He may engage with Masvidal, of course, because when you're going to fight, tempers flare, and then you start to talk a bit of shit. You know, you get upset, you get carried away. But he's not that type of guy that's gonna, you know, because sometimes when you're doing things like that, you gotta be willing to make a fool of yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? I got offered a reality TV show recently, and I turned it down. So I'm like, I'm not gonna be that performance monkey. I'm 42 years old. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be making a fool out of doing these scripted bloody scenarios. You know what I'm saying?
Create moments.
Yeah, create drama where there isn't one there, and oh my god, or whatever scenario it is. You know, so I said no, and I don't think Usman will be the type to do that. However, there is real tension and real friction between him and Masvidal, and that would be enough to give some good drama. And then of course the show's actually about all the people on the team as well. You know what I'm saying? So you get a good cast. He'd still be a great coach, even though he's not the type that's going to go out there and talk shit and be making a fool out of himself and playing pranks and all the rest of it. He'd still be a really good choice for a coach, though, nonetheless.
Kamaru should choose a really exciting, experienced assistant coach that maybe has done the Ultimate Fighter twice.
Yeah, he was the coach of Jason Miller's team.
No, was he? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, so you coached against him.
And look at that. Follow your dreams, ladies and gentlemen. Because Kush, we called him. Kush, that was his name. Everyone called him Kush. And I'd always walk past him like, shut the fuck up, Kush. Because he never said much, you know what I mean? You know, like, it's so annoying. I do it to loads of people when they don't talk. It's a very childish joke, but I did. Shut the fuck up, Kush. He wouldn't talk, but he's looking at me like he wanted to kill me. And now he's the champion of the world. Look at that. You know what I mean? So well done to him.
Some would say that you motivated him to champion.
Some would say that he owes me 20% of his purse. You know.
Not a big deal. Let him keep it.
You have it. I don't need it. Okay. So, what else do we want to discuss? There was one more thing. Masvidal conflict with
Before we move on, I gotta say, if you love the show, go subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, really anywhere where you can get podcasts, you can find the Believe in Me podcast. We have a YouTube channel as well, which is just exploding. Love the YouTube channel. Great comments always. Please leave us a comment and subscribe there. Hit the notification button. You get a notification every time a brand new episode is dropping. Typically, the episodes drop on Mondays and Thursdays, right around midnight Eastern. So if you guys are looking out for them, you guys can watch them live. And very often, myself and Mr. Bisping join the live chat. So, yeah, look out for us as well. And if you guys want access to the complete on-demand library, every episode we've ever done, you get them all in one place, ad-free and uncensored, all at gasdigitalnetwork.com. Use that promo code BYN. You get a 14-day free trial. You get access to everything all in one place. And, yeah, if you want to join the conversation, we love the questions, video questions,
Obviously,
audio questions.
depends what time zone you're in. You know, midnight New York is that works if you're in New York. If you're in England, that's 8 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And we could go on all day. 9 o'clock in
I
Paris.
mean, to be fair, I did say Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, no, sure. If you're in New York,
Actually, I don't think it's Eastern Standard. What does
No, I know.
EST stand for?
Eastern Standard Time would be my guess.
It may not be. I think it's something weird.
All right, well, GMT is Greenwich Mean Time.
I thought that was General Mountain Time up until maybe 6 months ago.
Are you serious?
I had no idea.
Greenwich Mean Time, okay? Because it's the centre of the universe, London, baby. Okay, listen, we've got a massive day for you. 3 huge title fights. Megan Hansen taking on Amanda Nunes. We've got Aljamain Sterling finally getting a shot against Piotr Jan, and Israel Adesanya and Jan Blachowicz. By the way, did you get a chance to see that countdown show, Lewis?
No, I have not yet.
Oh my God, it's unreal. It was on ABC Saturday morning. I'm in my hotel room, just doing the last minute research for the fights of Saturday that we just had, and ABC just happened to be on. The countdown show came on. That just shows again, I mean, obviously, it's all part of the Disney umbrella, but the countdown show being on fucking ABC is unreal. And the countdown show that they did for Adesanya versus Blachowicz, I didn't see the whole thing, I just saw that segment. Unbelievable. I mean, the production, oh my God, it's insane. It made me want to be a fighter again. So bad.
Why?
Because Adesanya obviously lives he lives in New Zealand, and New Zealand is an utterly beautiful country, just like so naturally beautiful. The cliffs and the oceans and the rolling greenery, the countryside, it's just fantastic. And they had Adesanya and his whole team down at the ocean in the river, and they had some guy that was like doing these drills with them. They had to run into the waves, hold the water as long as possible, and then they're running up the sand dunes, and just the scenery was absolutely it was epic. It was like something from a movie, you know what I mean? It just looked fucking sensational. Yeah, Adesanya and all his team behind him, they're running up the sand dunes and shit, and then the guys there like a marine commando into the water, and they're running into the waves and stuff and swimming. Now I guarantee they never do any of that shit in training. They got there, the countdown show guys like, hey, so we're just thinking, there's this guy that runs these training operations down by the beach. It'll be fucking sense. It's a 4-hour drive, but it'll be worth it. No, I don't know, maybe they do, but maybe it stayed. But either way, I'm glad it was, because it was awesome. And then you cut to Poland, and you got Blachowicz. He's running through the snow. He's jumping into a natural fucking frozen lake, you know, for an ice bath.
Yeah.
Jumping in there, and he's in the ice. Just happy as Larry, chatting away in a fucking natural ice bath with a beanie hat on and gloves. Got to keep your extremities nice and warm. But yeah, man, it was just so well done. The production value on it is insane. If you get a chance, go check that out.
I will. Yeah, the countdown shows have always been really good. I used to watch every single countdown show and get really hyped up. I always thought that the UFC was very ahead of the curve with sort of how they did those production packages. Everything from like the music they would choose, they had like cool shots with the rims of the car kind of going down the street, and then they would pan out. It's the fighter, he's talking. Very, very cool, very motivating as well.
And I saw also Adesanya bought his mother a Porsche Cayenne, which is a nice Porsche SUV, so God bless him now. Obviously doing very, very well, so good to see. All right, bwordpod@gmail.com. Send in your questions if you have them. Apparently, we have quite a few that Brian has been letting build up. So, we're going to do some of them. We're going to answer some of them. So, Brian, I would say, Brian, over to you. What have you got?
All right, so this question we got is from Darren's dad, bunch of numbers. He says, Brisbane, What's the funniest thing an opponent has ever said to you during a fight? And Lewis, what's the funniest line a heckler has ever hit you with?
You got yours? I kind of got, it's not 2 or 5, but you go on. You go first.
I mean, it's not even funny. It was just hurtful. I remember when I first started in comedy, I was doing what they would be called urban rooms, which is essentially, you know, they were rooms in like Black and Hispanic neighborhoods. You do a lot of them, and Black and Hispanic audiences are some of the best audiences in the world when it's going well. Like Black and Hispanic people like to laugh. They like to have a good time. It's just sort of like it's you remember in high school, it's like, you know,
Because the white people don't. The white people, they don't like to laugh. They don't like to have a good time.
they're a little more uptight. I gotta be honest with you. White people, as a comedy audience,
It's a large brush stroke, but go ahead.
look, I do professional comedy. This is what I do. I
You
perform in front of many audiences.
You're also Hispanic. So maybe you're looking at it from a different lens. I know I like to laugh, and I know lots of white people that also like to laugh. I know brown people, black people, Indian people. I think people like to laugh.
You grew up as hot garbage, right? So you're honorarily Puerto Rican, okay? So white people, just in general, they have a layer of white guilt. They have a little bit. They feel a little bit more. Yeah, you can't say no. I'm a comedian. I'm telling you, I've been doing comedy 15 years. Black and Hispanic audiences are easier to make laugh than all white audiences.
Maybe they just don't get your humor. Maybe you're just not that funny. Maybe you bombed on that night. I'm just throwing it out. They were shit. I was awesome, but the crowd was shit. You know what you sound like now? You sound like Paulo Costa. Did you have wine that night, Lewis? Did you have a sleep aid that night? Come on, dude.
Ask any comedian, they will tell you that you go up in front of an audience full of Black and Hispanic people. They're not uptight. They're not getting offended by anything. It's just a different mentality. You go in front of an all-white audience, you're like, oh, this is going to be a set where you have to be a little bit more careful. You know, they're a little bit more like, should I be laughing at this? Regardless, I was doing a show very early in my career. Now, that's if it's going well. If you're good. If you're bad.
Answer the question before you slag up any more races.
If you're bad at comedy, well, then white people will just politely stare at you. And they're like, okay, that's fine, whatever, next guy. If you bomb in front of a Black or Hispanic crowd, they're going to let you know it. And I was so young in comedy. It was maybe my 5th time performing. And we were at this little, like, bar, and it was all Black people in the crowd. And it was like a raucous crowd. And I was terrified. And I just went up there with this fake confidence. And they could just smell it. They could smell that I was not really confident. Whatever I was doing, my first joke bombed so badly. And this woman in the front row, she just started screaming next at the top of her lungs. To the point, literally, she wouldn't stop just screaming next over and over and over again.
That's not funny.
It wasn't funny for me. It was funny for the whole audience. They all laughed at me until I walked off stage.
Sounds like a drunk, obnoxious bitch. Next,
Yeah.
next, hilarious, original bitch. Get the fuck out. I'd have her thrown out, kicked out, banned, never to be seen again.
That, you know who that woman was?
Go on.
Karen Brown.
Was she really?
No.
Oh.
How funny would that be, though?
Would have been fucking hilarious. But number one, not all white people are the same, so there you go. Not all white people have the same sense of humour. If you come and do comedy up my way, where I'm from, and you're shit, you think they're all going to sit there politely go, he's trying his best, you're going to be respectful. No, you'll have a meat pie thrown in your fucking face pretty quick. You'll probably get beat up as you walk back to your car. Never really had anyone talk to me in the fights, really. I was never one for that. I've had a few things here and there. But when I squared up with Chael Sonnen, I said it before, you square up, and you're trying to be mean and intimidating. And I square up around the stage, you had the weigh-in, I forget which UFC it was. UFC on Fox 2. Phil Davis versus Rashad Evans main event, me and Chael Sonnen co-main event. And we're squaring up, we're on the stage in front of thousands of people. And I'm not trying to look tough and hard in these guys. You smell really nice. What is that cologne you got there? And I couldn't help but laugh. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, you fucking asshole. I'm trying to be tough, trying to be hard. That whole bit. And I was like, you smell delightful. What is that cologne you were wearing? Anyway, there you go. Or Charles McCarthy, Chainsaw Charles McCarthy, when he said, he screamed him out. He literally screamed, I'm going to break your fucking neck. No, I'm going to break your fucking arm. I'm going to break your fucking arm. And the reason that was funny was because I broke his arm. I kneed him in the forearm so often and so hard that I broke his arm, so kind of ironic. But yeah, there you go. Next question.
Well, I was going to say, because you're talking about some of these fighters, who did you like And remember when you fought, who did you like the most going into the fight? Like, where you're like, you had no ill will, you're like, I actually really like this guy.
Dan Miller.
Dan Miller.
Yeah, Jason Miller's brother, Dan Miller. He was just a solid guy, nice guy. I mean, I bumped into him a few times.
Not Jason Miller's brother. You're thinking of
Oh, sorry, Jim Miller. What am I saying?
Miller, yeah.
Jason Miller. Pardon me. Thank you. Good catch. Yeah, Jim Miller's brother, Dan Miller. Yeah, no, I bumped into him a few times here and there, and they're like, oh, hey, what's up, buddy? How are you? You know, a little handshake, just nice and cordial, just a nice, normal guy from New Jersey. No fucking bullshit, no ego, no shit talk. So yeah, he was great. Yeah, good guy.
And did that make it harder to get on there and motivate to fight him?
No, not in the slightest. Just like a game of football or a game of whatever. You're trying to win. You're trying to win. You're a competitive guy. You're trying to win, you know? And if you lose, it's going to hurt. So you always try your best. Ryan, next question, please.
All right, so we got this one from Wayne Taylor. He asks, Dustin Poirier walks around about 195. Why does he fight at 155 and not 185? Why does he cut so much weight?
Well, everybody knows the answer to that question if you follow him close enough. I don't think he probably gets as high as 195. Maybe on occasion, you know, or maybe once in his life he did get as high as 195. So he says that, oh, I come down from 195. When he's in shape, obviously, I doubt he's weighing 195 when he's in shape. He's not going to fight when he's out of shape, so you've got that straight away. And people generally cut weight, you know, and he doesn't seem small for 155. He seems about the same size as everybody else at 155, so he probably is the right weight class. And everybody knows, in mixed martial arts, people cut weight. I hope the culture changes, it needs to change. We'll have better fights, we'll have less injuries, and we'll be wanting fights cancelling because he's going to make weight. We want people at the start of the second round absolutely gassed and exhausted because that's unprofessional. So people should all move up a weight class, but it's going to be a long time before that happens.
Yeah, I mean, if you can make the weight and it's not, you know, he's not having trouble, why wouldn't you fight at the weight class that you can make and be effective at? He's also, I mean, he's on top of the world right now, 155. Why isn't he fighting at 185? Because I think he does some trouble with Israel at the time.
And I'm retired with one eye. Do you know what I mean? I hate to see what Paulo Costa would do to me if he didn't have any wine. You know what I mean? Paulo Costa with no wine will fuck up Dustin. I'm just saying. No,
Paulo Costa with no wine is number one pound for pound fighter in the world.
No wine, Paulo Costa. My God, what was it? It's a motivated Connor. No wine, Paulo Costa. There's a few others like that that we say in the mixed martial arts community. So that's a good one. No, I was going to say a good point there about Dustin. Nah, whatever. Who cares? Oh no, that's what I was going to. He used to fight at 145. Let's remember when he first fought. That was at 145 pounds, you know, so if you can make 145, of course he's done 185. However, Kenny Florian started at 185 on the Ultimate Fighter, went to 170, 55, ended up saying 45. So, but yeah, there you go. That is the answer to your question, my friend. But thank you very much for writing in. Brian.
All right, this is the last written question, then we got some videos in. Sam Fisher asks, do you have any advice for a pool player? He drills, focuses on fundamentals, and practices endurance, among other things. It's very rigid and structured, and these are things he learned from doing MMA. He's like, do you have any other practices that you believe would transcend into different sports? Little or big things, something someone might forget to pay attention to, like a stable life at home, or knowing when to take a rest.
Yeah, well, listen, you're playing pool. You don't need to worry about overflow. Okay? You know, I mean, you might go to the pub to do your training, get shit faced,
Do not drink wine.
just don't drink wine. Lager. Stick to lager. Maybe a little gin and tonic, a little G&T. You know, you might get a pool view over your head, but still. Practice a lot. That's what you want to do. Discipline. You know, I mean, to be honest, it's all the same things in anything really. A lot of the same stuff carries on. You know, I mean, I'm sure being a comedian, same thing. It's all, you know, you start at the bottom, you got to work your way up. How do you do that? Well, it is hard work. And, you know, what quantifies that hard work is different in everything. You know, for MMA, it's going out there and, you know, training, doing your boxing, your wrestling, all the rest of it, and working your way up. For comedy, it's starting at the bottom and working on your jokes and sitting there and make sure you're doing your writing and practicing your set, all that type of stuff. And for a pool player, I don't know, it probably involves fucking smoking cigarettes and having a few beers at the pub. To each their own. I know which one I'd fucking choose. I'm getting into pool, Lewis. Simple as that.
Are you gonna pool?
Used to be okay. When I used to go to the pubs a lot, I used to be okay, you know, but I played it recently, well, somewhat recently, and I sucked. I haven't done it in a long time. It's definitely something you forget how to play.
We played in Big Bear.
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, we're not good. Nobody was good in that house. It was embarrassing.
The longest game of pool ever. I tell you what I used to like, when I used to play pool with the lads at Clitheroe, we used to play Killer. You ever play Killer?
No.
Yeah, so what's he called? Robinson. What's the big guys from The Office? There's a lot of movies. Black guy, big curly. Craig Robinson.
Yeah, Craig.
Yeah, so I was hanging out with him after one of the shows, and there was a pool table. So everyone's playing pool. And, I'll get next. So I go over, I say, let's have a game of Killer. And he's like, what's Killer? And so what you do is everyone that's playing, everyone that's there, so there's 20 people, everyone 20 a lot. Let's say 7 or 10. Who knows? Limitless, let's be honest. But everybody puts in an amount of money that you agree. Back in the day, we'd always put a pound in. So all the lads would chuck a pound in. So it'd be like 20 quid in the pot. And then you get one shot each. You get 2 lives. And you get every shot, you've got a pot of ball. Doesn't matter what colour ball, blue, black, red, whatever. As long as the ball goes down, but not the white ball. You know what I'm saying?
This thing doesn't see color.
I don't see colour. But if you put the ball, then you find it goes to the next person. But if you don't put a ball, obviously you lose a life. And both lives you out. And then at the end, and it's fun. That's 20 quid. You know what I mean? And then you play again. It's fun. It's a fun game. Check it out. There you go. Brian, video question time, I believe.
Yeah, all right. So we have this one here from Eric Buford.
Swedish. Whale's the giant.
Alright, look. Say you want more video questions. I sent you a video question, which I thought was pretty good. From my shower, no less. I was still dripping shower water. It's very sexy. Sexy? Very sexy, very sensual. But you didn't play it. The quality was bad. I thought the question was good. So I'll ask it again. Michael Bisping, you always say you can't give picks when you're commentating on it. That's fine, why. You understand the game very well. I mean, it's an unbiased opinion. Just pick who you think's going to win. I don't see what the problem is. And Lewis, in reference to Jason Ellis, we both know kind of bisexual, pansexual, he just fucks whatever as a whole. You know, if you had to pick, would you want to fuck Jason Ellis or be fucked by Jason Ellis?
Good question.
Why choose, right?
Then you're going to have both. Who's will take it?
I like this guy.
I like this guy a lot. I do. I kind of want to see the video of him naked in the shower. What happened to that, Brian? Come on.
I'll have to go back and find it. Maybe the quality wasn't so good.
Listen, so let's go with you, Lewis. I'm Jason Ellis. I'm coming in. All right, mate. How you doing? I've got tats all over my head, right? And I think I can fight, but I can't really fucking fight. I talk about it on the radio, and I do this sham of a show called Jason fucking Ellis, right? Now, at the end of the day, Lewis, I'm gonna fuck you, right? Do you want me to fuck you up the arse, or do you want to fuck me up my arse? It's up to you, mate. So, you know, which one, Lewis?
I mean, it's either choosing to fuck or be fucked, obviously. I mean, I think this is pretty obvious. I'm going to do the fucking. Not that I want to, but I mean, if I have to choose one, yeah, you know, I can close my eyes.
So what you're saying is, if push came to shove, you would do the pushing. And you'd probably enjoy it. You know, at the end of the day,
too.
It's a sensation that you like, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you would like to be the man in a relationship with Jason Ellis. Just say that sentence.
I'm going to be the top. That's all I know. It's warm, it's soft, I close my eyes, I pretend it's Michael Bisping.
You will have, listen, if push came to shove, you would have sex with Jason Ellis. Okay, hey, listen.
Hey, who knows how this fight's gonna go? Maybe he's gonna kick my ass so bad that I have to have sex with Jason Ellis at the end of it.
I mean, that's not something I never think about.
Oh, Bisping, very close-minded. Very close-minded. Wow. I thought you were open-minded. I thought you didn't see color anymore. I didn't think you had any problems.
You gotta fight. Let's keep it professional. You know, I can't be thinking about that. And to answer the guy's question, same thing. It's about being professional. Of course, you can't pick who's gonna win, right? Because you commentate in the fight, so you can't have any investment in it. Of course, anytime you make a pick, you might have money on that, right? So that changes things, and you might have an emotional want. You know, you go out publicly and say this guy's going to win. You kind of want that to happen. It's just a little bit unprofessional. I'm there to call the fights as I see it. I shouldn't have what's the word? My something in the race. I shouldn't have any
horse in the race.
Yeah, I shouldn't have any horse in the race. It's like no, it's unprofessional. It is.
Does that come from the UFC, or is it your own sort of, you said, I'm not going to make a pick, I'm commentating, or did they tell you, hey, don't publicly pick anybody for commentating?
No, they've never told me to never publicly pick because I'm commentating, but there has been occasion where I've done the desk or whatever like that, and I've been commentating and said, no, you're commentating, you don't have to make a pick. But if you're not commentating, then you have to make a pick. You know, so I just let that cross over into my everyday life. Obviously, you know, the UFC don't want to commentate making picks. So it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to know that if I'm doing a podcast, I just follow that same protocol.
And when you're in that moment, you know, to add on to it, you are an employee of the UFC. It would be weird. It's like you're part of this production team. You're not, the UFC as a whole isn't supposed to be putting their support behind
forward.
Yeah, they shouldn't be putting their support behind one of these guys. It should be equal support. This is what this guy does good. This is what this guy does good. You know,
Correct.
Completely objective. And I think that, you know, you're sort of not representing yourself in that moment. You're representing the UFC. And if I'm a fighter and then I know this guy at the fucking desk picked against me, that might fuck with my head a little bit.
Yeah. Well, at the desk again, that's kind of fair play. But the commentator at the desk has been publicly going out there saying that he thinks I'm going to lose because of reason X, Y, Z. I mean, that's another thing as well. Generally, when you make a prediction, you got to back it up and say why you made that prediction. So if you go into detail, breaking something down about how this fucking guy is going to lose this fight, why he's going to lose this fight, their opponent might see that and then implement that game plan or whatever. There's many reasons. But as you said, the best thing is you are a representation of the UFC, so therefore you're going to be completely impartial and just there to do the job and call the fights as you see it, not have any kind of emotional investment on who wins, you know? And I prefer it that way, big time. Because then you're going to talk to them afterwards as well. I don't want them coming up and going, hey, Bisping, I saw that little prediction that you did, dickhead. How'd that work out for you? You know, then you're going to have those kind of situations as well, you know what I'm saying?
Right, of course.
Yeah. What else, Brian?
We got two more. I got this question here from Kiki.
Do you love me?
Hey, Lewis, Mike, Harrington, and Brian. I have a question for each of you. Bisping, was there a time where you wanted to hang up your gloves sooner than you already did? And Lewis, was there ever a time where you wanted to give up comedy and try something else? Big fan of the show, guys. Just listen to you at the gym. Keep up the great work. Let's get that subscriber number up.
Oh, yeah.
Who's this lady? What's her name?
Kiki.
Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? Well done. She must have heard that song for the fucking time. Thank you for the very, very well laid out question. Very, very good there. Thank you, Kiki. What was the question?
She said, was there a time before you retired that you maybe considered retiring?
No, never. Which is wild. Because I remember, like, now and again I see something on TV, like one of the fights pop up, fight pass online, whatever. And I look and I see and I'm going, I'm going to be the fucking champion one day, blah, blah, blah. And I know I've only got one eye in that scenario. And I'm like, that guy's out of his mind. You know what I mean? That guy's out of his mind. He has one eye and he's just managed to scrape another fucking win. And he's going, come on. Line him up, I'll knock him down. I'm like, this fucking guy's crazy. No, I never wanted to retire. I wanted to continue fighting as well, but you know, ultimately I was forced out of it because of my eyes. If it wasn't because of my eyes, I'd probably still be fighting now. And I'm glad I'm not. You know, I don't miss those training camps. I was talking about this to Rebecca the other night. She said to me, she said, do you think if you were still fighting, no injuries, and you could still do it, do you think you'd still just have the energy to do it? Like, probably not, because it's fucking hard work. Getting out of bed early, going for your run, sticking to the diet, going to all the different practices and whatnot, training 3 times a day and doing interviews and press conferences. I like a nice quiet life these days. You know what I mean? So the answer is no, probably not. But to answer your question, Kiki, thank you. No, I did not. Lewis, comedy?
Yeah, I mean, comedy is all peaks and valleys. So the valleys, especially in the very beginning, you question it all the time. You know, before you have any success, before there's any money, when you're just doing it for the love of it, you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, there's no clear path even to making a career or making money. I was never the guy that was getting a ton of industry support or television support. I've done a bunch of TV shows and I've done some things that you're supposed to do, But my success came after I did all of those things, and it didn't really pan out. The Tonight shows and the sitcoms and all that never panned out. So I started doing things on my own. There's a point in comedy where, you know, you're like, you don't know if you can make it until you're 10 years in. You got to put a decade in before you know if this is even an option to really make it. That's really minimum. 10 years is around the time before you start really making some cash. And at that point, every friend of yours is a comedian. Your whole life, all you think about is performing. You sort of give up all these other aspects of your life, and at one point you realize, oh shit, I'm not doing anything with my career, and you have to go backwards. So once I sort of crossed the threshold where I was making a living, then it was just, you know, keep on making progress. But very early in my career, all the time, and some of the best advice, the best piece of advice I ever got from another comedian was a guy named Joey Gay. And I was bummed out one day. I was outside of a comedy club.
Good name for a comedian.
Great name for a comedian. I was outside of a comedy club, and I was just bummed out. Like, it was one of these, you know, nothing's going on. What am I doing here? You know, maybe I probably bombed that night, whatever it was. And I was like, I don't even know.
What audience?
All white people just fucking sitting there, barely laughing. And it was just a great little piece of advice that I think really makes sense for anybody who's trying to go for their passion, which is like, dude, no matter what, just keep showing up. Anytime you feel like you want to quit, you don't want to do it, just get up on stage, do a set, you know, and have that be your go-to. And that always sort of stuck with me. Just keep showing up, and eventually the valleys started becoming higher and higher. And eventually the valleys were higher than my peaks when I was a young comic. You know, when I'm having a bad day now or a bad week now, I'm still in a substantially better position than I was a decade ago. So yeah, that doubt creeps in all the time, and I think you need that doubt in order to make you good at any of these things.
Yeah, and to be honest, I can kind of expand on the question a little bit if I was talking about the acting side of things, because it's kind of the fighting is different because I had a solid contract with the UFC, I was earning good money, and I was always able to fight. So of course, at that time, giving up or quitting never really occurred to me. I was like, I'm going to run the fucking rails off this until I can't do it anymore because I get paid handsomely and I'm in a fortunate position. But acting is a very different thing. You know what I mean? I don't have, you know, I'm not what's the word I'm looking for? Pardon me?
Talented?
Yeah, because that's world, right? So, you know, you go for all these auditions and stuff, and you work your ass off, and you go for meetings. You know, my agent, you know, in normal times, I was going up to LA and Hollywood and driving off to Santa Monica and meeting producers and doing this and doing that, and you know, just spending a lot of time sitting in the car in traffic, going to meetings, and a lot of time just a total waste of time. And then it becomes long periods of time where you're not booking any work, you know, and you think, oh God, should I just fucking stop doing this? Should I just give this up? What am I doing, you know? But then you get booked for something. You know what I mean? Like last year I was thinking that, and then something good came up. I was like, oh shit, and then it reignites that passion. And I remember, not that I'm trying to one up your Joey Gay story, but when I was at Gold's Gym, Arnold Schwarzenegger came up and basically said the same thing what he said. You know, he said, oh, because his nephew is my stepson or whatever, I forget what the exact relationship is my lawyer. So he kind of, you know, he was aware of it that way as well. And he came up and he said, listen, Michael, in the acting world, don't listen to me. Okay, there's going to be a long period of time. You're not going to get that role. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'll be back. No, and he just said, there's always going to be times like that. He said, I was like that. He said, I remember I booked, it was Hercules Comes to New York, and I thought I was going to be set, and I thought that was it. Pardon me?
Great movie.
Great movie if it's opposite day. And he said, yeah, I thought I was going to be set after that. He said, it was like a couple of years before I got anything, you know, and then I got Conan and everything changed. But I was like, yeah, it's great advice. You know what I mean? If you enjoy it and you're passionate about it, keep doing it, I say, you know. Yeah, there you go. Anyway.
Michael Bisping, get down! Get down! Everybody can do the get down! It's time to get down!
Everyone's got their little Arnie bits.
How great was? Did you ever watch his the documentary Pumping Iron?
Yeah, every day it's like good coming, you know. Yeah. No, I haven't seen it all actually. I started watching it on Netflix one day. I think I've seen the first half of it, but yeah,
It's really good.
Yeah, Dean Lister does a good Arnold Schwarzenegger. If anyone's interested. All right, well I think that's our show. 4 p.m. now. Been going for a couple of hours.
You got one more.
Ryan, I'm so sorry. I hate to cut you off. So I have to be out the door right now. I'm sorry. I really don't have one more. Put it back.
Save that, Brian. Save it for Thursday's show. We're going to be back. We're going to break down all the big times. Next Monday. Tell your friends about the show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the questions, positive feedback, everything. We truly appreciate you. We'll see you on Thursday.
Say something.
Damn. Kid's jacked.
Oh, he is?
Yes, dude.
Oh, that's us talking about that?
Talking about them?
Hilarious.
Wait, who is that? Wait, how do you get your abs like that?
I don't know, but everyone there's like that.
That's crazy. Do you see that?
Yeah, they're all like that, dude.
Dude,
I
this is-
told you, you gotta be two something to do something.
Yeah.
You ain't getting in there, Malik. Let me talk to Bradley. No. I just talked to him. He said no.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Everyone's like not like
Bro,
that.
going to the gym is maybe
I
one of my
swear,
better gym clothes.
Dude, it makes you want to buy better gym
Look at that
clothes.
guy.
Everyone's fashionable. Look at his legs.
Yeah.
See his tree leaf legs?
Yeah. That kid.
But again,
Bro, there was one guy, him and his homie were on the squat rack barefoot. They had the short shorts on. You should it biggest legs I've ever. I mean, bigger than any running back I've ever seen.
Tall dude?
No, like maybe 6 foot, 5'11", dude. They're I mean, two of mine were so thick, barefoot. When they got hot bitches next to them squatting, like, oh my god, damn.
You didn't look at the hot bitch. You looked at that.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get better shape. When I look in the mirror, I'm all sucking it up.
It really does motivate you because you walk in there and I'm like, damn.
Oh, we look like
Y'all, so y'all work out in y'all hoodies. Everyone's fashionable. Got the shorts on. The
everyone
shirt
looks
off.
dope. Everyone looks
dope.
dressing better.
Everyone.
Yeah, you can't just wear. You just can't wear raggedy gym clothes. Like,
Yeah, oh yeah, I do. I bought some merch.
Me too.
Yeah, I was like, bro, I was like,
I did too.
I did too. I rolled up there with some Nike shorts. I didn't realize I had a big ass hole in it. I'm like,
Dude, I wear the Baron Michael the J's.
Oh,
I
you-
wear dope socks.
oh yeah,
I wear these short. I bought Zoo Culture gym
yeah. I'm
shorts.
telling you, dog. I'm
And I got this dope ass hoodies now and shit.
Oh,
and hats.
dope,
and
man.
everyone has their hats forward and it's like
Yeah.
down. And they're all jacked.
fucking good, dude.
I want to go and be like, how many CCs you boys want?
I work 3 C's. It's thick.
How many CCs?
Hey, so they had the hoodie with the shirt cut.
Yeah, I wear those.
I'm not wearing that yet.
You're not wearing that.
No,
Okay.
I can't wear that one.
You know
yet.
why? They dress
I gotta wait.
But I always wonder too if they're like, man, that shopkeep comes there and just does the same shit every time. It's because my ribs fucked up, man. I can't do
Oh,
legs
yeah.
right
Oh, it's still fucked up?
Yeah, it popped out when we go
Pop,
leg press.
pop, broke, something happened.
Oh,
Look
shit,
at
that's me?
Chappelle. Yeah.
Let's go,
All
let's
right,
go,
yeah,
let's go,
now
let's
you
go.
judge. Stop.
Here we go, Chappelle.
First of all, that's not the video I
Look how easy that is.
Two.
All right. Internet.
Yeah.
No help.
This looks like one of those Bigfoot
Come on.
quality videos.
No, right?
How many you did? Like 6?
5.
Yeah, see, dog, that's good.
God. 5 reps. No help. What you gotta say?
Did you post that?
No, I didn't. What's up, Brendan?
That was good, man.
Yeah. No, I really took what you said. Brendan just got me believing in myself, dog. I'm out here fucking doing headlining shows.
Headlining,
bro.
Getting
That
smaller.
big butterfly,
Yeah, bro.
That big butterfly.
Motivated.
Let's
We
go.
see enable each other, man.
You know what? I'm proud of y'all because last year y'all kept like, we gotta start this diet.
Oh,
not
yeah.
the way the other way. We all, everyone,
Hey,
all
we
of
were
us.
gonna get there. We
Yeah.
just had to keep
It just
talking
takes
about
a few
It takes a-
times.
it.
Yeah. Scared straight,
Times,
man.
man.
Damn.
Damn, bro.
Now y'all got.
Dude, we're jam packed this month. We're jam packed. We're literally gone every weekend.
Oh, you're gone every weekend.
Yeah.
You're
So
working-
yeah, I
you're
did
in
last
Austin this weekend, right?
Yeah, Austin this weekend.
And then it's
Oh,
Cleveland.
You don't go nowhere this weekend, huh?
No,
we watching
UFC
fights.
259,
Watching the fights,
daddy.
man. Come on, bro.
3 title fights.
Come on. Israel, and we got boxing as well.
So you got Austin this weekend, and then we go Cleveland, March 11th,
Spokane.
after that,
Then we go
March
Miami.
18th, and then we go Miami. We close on
Miami.
But we just roll warriors, bro.
A lot of Florida.
I'm wearing shorts in Florida.
Ooh,
So-
it's hot today.
Oh,
Stevie's
yeah,
the
what was
only
the
one that
weather
had
like?
shorts.
Yeah.
Hot.
It was?
But not like scorching hot.
I guess it is the end of February, or it's month.
Yeah, it was good. I was sweating. I was thinking about wearing those big puffy shorts, pants out there. Thank God I didn't. You know, my sister literally. I look stupid.
It was cold in Kansas City.
Kansas City's
Yeah,
cool.
it's nice out there too. It looks
Yeah,
nice.
Kansas City's cool.
I mean,
What
not
are they
boring.
What are they known for besides the Chiefs?
Barbecue,
of course.
barbecue, and
football,
Royals. Yeah,
So nothing else.
yeah.
Like a slow, steady.
I did a backflip, not because it was a bad show.
You wanted to.
Yeah,
You
wanted
were
to.
crying.
I
First
was
headline.
crying.
I mean, big
I was
headline.
crying.
Jake.
It's actually on their Instagram. What's the Instagram? It's pretty funny.
The KC
And
Improv?
then this dude squatted me.
Really?
What?
Yeah, because he said he was a power lifter. I said I don't believe you.
So let me get on his back.
Yeah, hold on. It's called
What did Joe Coy post?
Oh, go to my page, Chen. Go to my page, and then I tagged them in the photo. But I did a clean ass backflip, bro. It's the best backflip I've done
Losing weight.
since I've been losing weight, bro. You couldn't tell me shit. So click on it. I tagged the yeah, yeah,
The Comic Club KC.
yeah.
Hey, let's get it.
Papa.
Oh yeah, Tom Papa's there. Yeah. They're like, you need help?
Take the chain off?
Took the chain off?
Yeah.
Man, that
Clean
shit
that
was
is.
clean.
Right? Bro, it's
Losing weight.
never been like that.
Yeah.
Not in a minute.
No gut.
No good. Watch this fucking dude comes up and squats me.
White people love backflips.
I know, right?
White people love backflips.
Especially when the big dude
Watch
comes.
this.
He goes, hey, what?
Oh, damn, grab by his Crocs.
Oh, he about to, is he about
Turn you off?
He about to do an FU?
That was a dude. His name was Bo.
Yeah, Bo looks strong.
Bo look like Brock Lesnar.
He rolled up in shorts comfortably, dog. It's cold as fuck out there. Yeah, they played Wonderwall.
You look happy as
Yeah.
I was
Like a
fucking
kid. Like a
You look
damn
so
kid.
Some of the H-Strays on the show money, dog, touch my sister.
When we go to the road next week, he gonna be different.
He's at a different Airbnb than us.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
How much time you doing? How much
I would
time
love
you
that.
doing?
I'm doing 18. That's what I'm doing.
I'm not working.
Doing 18.
Doing 18. You sure?
Oh, I got a new show for you with your Love Doctor skit. There's a show on Showtime called Couples Therapy. Ooh, it's
Oh, is it dope?
Oh, you
I love that shit. Come on now.
So this is like she's like the beast of all beast therapist.
Okay.
She sits down with all these couples, married
Okay.
couples, and there's like a bunch of them. Oh my god, it's so addicting. There's 10 episodes. It's on demand. This beast therapist. She's been doing it for like 30 years.
She beast.
She's such a beast. This two lesbian couples, fantastic.
Great. So
So they come in.
And they have but it shows it over like a span of like a year of them they sit down, they say their problems, and then like say like you and I are together and you start talking, I'm like, no, it's not like that. I'm not allowed to do that. She's like, nope. He gets to tell his version and then he goes to like, don't dictate what they say. So a guy jumped in, she's like, nope, not your turn. It's his turn. It's great.
shit.
Oh, this is
Damn.
dope. I like that.
I live for this shit.
No, it's
I
live for this shit.
It's so good.
Oh. Fuck
And
yeah.
then
How many sessions? How many sessions do you have with these couples? Just
A
like
bunch.
I gotta watch the show, huh?
Sasha, I don't know, dude. It's a fucking show.
Well, no, that's
10 parts serious. I don't know.
That's a client's privilege, you know. It's privacy.
No, they all sign up for this.
Oh, they all sign up?
And there's one couple like, dude, just go your separate ways.
Oh, really? Damn, so it gets pretty good.
Oh man, there's one.
Me and my girl gonna love
there's
it.
this one girl, the black couple. Well, he's black. She's like Puerto Rican or something, and she doesn't want him, like, she's super controlling. He'll go to work. She'll call 20 times. He's like, bitch, I'm working.
Really?
And she's super controlling of him.
Oh,
And he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't go out with my friends. I've been out with my friends in 5 years. He's like, because when I go out, I drink.
What the fuck?
She'd be pissed to me. Well, and then
Then why do you
that's
say
them
that?
right there. That's
That's
it
it
right
right
there.
there.
Bro,
So then the
Bro,
therapist.
he looks so sick.
Yeah, man, you're like a sad puppy, though.
So then the therapist asked the lady on the left. She's like, why you want to control the narrative so much? What's going on there? She's like, I'm a very passionate person. Like I'm in the driver's seat. But she's like, well, let's get to the bottom. Like, why you like this? And she tells her relationship previous to that, he used to punch her in the face and like fuck her up. She's like, I'm never gonna let that happen. You know? And then they start untangling that way. It's
Damn, they get deep.
oh, super deep.
Oh my god, I'm in love with this shit.
It's so good.
Oh, me and my girl gonna be all over.
Yeah, I saw it. It was like on my Yahoo News feed or something.
Yeah.
And then people were
And
like,
you were
this
like,
show's so
click.
addicting. And I was like, I'll see
How many
one.
seasons is it right now?
Well, that's the first
That's what
season. It
I'm
just
saying.
came out. It's
Just
10
came out.
episodes.
10
It's
episodes?
all,
Oh.
like, if you have dishes on demand, they're all 10 episodes. And then I'll watch that Tekashi 6ix9ine.
So you watched it.
Just episode 1. It's better than the Hulu one.
Better than Hulu? Did it show pedigree?
You have the real Treyway leader on there talking.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
that's the
does he
only
say?
difference, though, I think.
Spoiler
No,
alert 3.
they have a bunch of good people on there talking about it. It's
Because on the Hulu doc, they only really had his baby mama.
Yeah, because
she's on this too, but now she's like more mature now looking. And
They didn't
that
mention-
leader of Treyway is pretty gangster.
Did she still pretty much feel the same way about him?
Oh, they hate each other.
Yeah.
You know, she's the one who blames him while their 6-year-old daughter is getting like bullied online.
But I think everyone.
A troll. Yeah. We was watching this show, me and my girl, Temptation Island. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
One
it's
of
so
my
good.
friends was on there.
She was?
Yeah, she was on there.
Is it like Love Island?
Bro, it's so much better.
It's
I'm
it's
trying
an
to tell you,
American show.
it's made for you. So these couples, they volunteer to like live separately on this island.
And then they bring in their exes, right?
No, they bring in hot women, hot men, and they have to choose which one like they want to go like they're involved with and go on dates. Now they live separate. They put them in separate cabanas, and
They look older.
No, one of my homegirls was on it.
She was?
Yeah, a girl that I cheered with for, used to cheer with like, I've known her since like 2002. She was on it, like, yeah, she blew up from it.
bro, you can't see your girl until the show is over, like 6 or 7
Oh, they
weeks.
bring in his dad.
Yeah, so there's like making one
Jason
episode.
Derulo?
Nah, I'm not on him. I'm on season 3 too. There's like some baddies in it. And now they're thinking like, yo, so they're like, you know how dudes are. We see some new girls. We're like, yeah, let's get it, right? So now it takes a minute for women to fall in love. So there's like, they were nervous when dudes just come. There's a barrage of dudes just coming in the house. Now they're starting to open up and they're starting to slowly fall in love. And the dudes are like, now we done with these women. We want our girls back. But they lost their girl. You know what I mean? Because they want to come on there and just like, that's all they want to do. And then it was like, yo,
They have to decide at the end if they're gonna stay. Or
stay, yeah, and go, yeah. And basically these women, like some of them, they just
And I'm
want
over there.
like that. I thought she was all about
No,
it.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I realize how stupid it
Because it
is.
was like 50 episodes of fucking Love Island.
Love Island's 50, 60 episodes. You know how long that takes to go through?
Bro, he went from super fan to fucking like, what the fuck
I'm
is
out.
this?
Yeah, I was on season, I like season 5, I think. with Tommy
Yeah.
Fury, then after that, I fell down.
He fought this weekend, by the way.
He won?
Yep, he won. Okay, no, fun.
Some shit.
Then your boy Jake Paul, people came in, he was like ring interview. Yeah, get the fuck out.
Tyson Fury wants his brother Tommy Fury to fight Jake Paul. I don't like Jake Paul.
Oh, he would get annihilated?
Oh, yeah. Tommy Fury.
Tommy, he was real fine. He was real fine.
I got Ben Askren on Food Truck next week.
Oh,
I know Jake Paul.
No skits.
Skip?
Like, you know, they ran and food balloons at, never know. You never know, yeah.
He might. Right now that he knows he's coming on, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. You think he'll listen to this? Like,
I got this mother. You never.
I don't think so.
That should be hard though.
this should-
No, I'm not into that stuff. The worst is because we had Tiny Tacos at the Tiny Taco place on Keenan Sting, and they're the
Oh, the funny guy.
they're the food truck for Ben Askren. You're gonna cheat. That's what we're gonna do it. I had your taco, Cat. The cat
How was
only feet, only fans taco.
Yeah,
Was
so
it
like,
good? Oh,
good.
oh, they put their foot in.
All their
Best
tacos
tacos
look
I've
so
ever
good.
had.
Looks
Then
so
they had the
good.
V Shop thick taco.
What comes in?
I don't know. It's so
It's just
fucking
thick.
good.
Don't do
They
that.
had Chin's tacos, like a Korean meat taco.
Mm-hmm.
Taco's nice. They thought you guys were gonna be there, so they had a bunch of extras.
Oh.
That's the one time I really wanted to have food.
But you
Like in the
didn't? You
studio.
didn't have any?
I was here
Oh,
editing
yeah.
it.
So good. Like me, probably just I ate one taco, like my cheek, and then I just had like small bites just to try to get it. Oh, so good. Delicious.
Are they based out of here in LA? Or are they based somewhere else?
Yeah, they're based out of they're outside LA. They don't have
I was like, what's
they don't have a food truck.
Oh, okay, so it's kind of like a
They do
pop-up. They do,
pop-ups.
okay.
And I was like, yo, we gotta go to base here because I'll buy the food truck and get them tacos.
Ooh,
At
okay.
83%.
Damn, that's a Suge Knight
I
contract.
know, right? Yeah, Suge Knight over here. Sharp
Sharp Knight
Knight.
Records.
You want a truck or not, man? Like that truck?
No,
we're good where we're at.
They'll probably get better.
Are you sure? I told my marketing, your tacos,
Mhm.
eat in the middle of the truck. You guys
Yeah.
start going around town, and the tacos are so fun.
I need one. The way you
Marketing
talking about
champ
it.
right here.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah,
the
yeah.
tacos
The
are
tacos are good.
Yeah.
Shit, maybe you'll be able to, March 9th, what day is that? Is that Tuesday?
Let's see. Yeah, it is.
Or you could come here for that, Jim. It's at 1:30.
1:30. Yeah, I think I can actually make it because we're doing that's after, right? Yeah. Oh wait, I thought it was just
You guys can try those tacos.
Yeah, for sure.
I won't. I'm gonna stick to it.
Yeah.
I've been having.
You can have something
Thanks,
to eat, though.
I can probably, yeah, probably
I'll have to eat one taco on camera, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta eat. Yeah,
Oh,
if Riff Raff can do it, you can. Riff Raff did it. He bulked up because he's gonna do like the wrestling.
he's on steroids. Talk about being on steroids.
Never mind. Just kidding.
No, you could do that, like Justin. But then Tekashi 6ix9ine lost 60 pounds.
So, yeah, I saw that.
And so did Andy Ruiz lost some weight, I think 25 pounds.
A bunch of fans were sending me the Tekashi.
He
you
can do it.
Yeah, that's literally what they all
idiot can do it. They're like, so he can do it, you can do it.
We do it like this.
I've been having a lot of fucking support from fans with this shit.
Yeah, bro, you'd be surprised.
Look at him.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's 60 pounds?
you got to show that chin strap.
Yeah, he's big.
Oh, that's 60 pounds, right?
Look at him on the left, dog.
It
Just
doesn't
what
look
that
like
gut
20
do,
or
what
30.
that gut do, baby.
Yeah, that doesn't look like
That
60.
doesn't look like 60
So
pounds.
20 or 30?
That looks
Maybe.
like 20 or 30.
That looks like 30.
Yeah, it didn't look like
Look at his
60.
face, though. Compared to the left,
Yeah, his
he was
face.
so fat. Look at that
He looks
gut.
so. Yeah, he looks.
I bet you that's 60 pounds.
60, but he's a small dude.
That's a lot of weight.
That's a ton of weight.
I'd have to see another side view, but that's a ton of weight.
Yeah, yeah, the lunch face.
That's the close. That's his tight.
That's tight.
Yeah, but you want, lost 60 pounds.
I don't have a desire
Oh, he was
to
200.
cheat.
He was 204.
I cannot believe he was 200 pounds. How tall is this
I don't
dude?
think. Yeah.
I don't think he was
I think he's like
204 pounds. Yeah, I don't know if I believe him, but I don't think he's the most honest person in the world.
5'5"?
5'5"?
No way.
There's no way he lost 60
Yeah,
pounds.
right.
Yeah, he's
Thank you.
5'5".
Yeah.
I bet he lost 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
At
dope,
most.
though. I give it.
Yeah.
Hey,
We was talking about him this weekend. His videos is so fire. His music, we try to bump into it in St. Petersburg.
I didn't know.
On his music.
Yeah, Jay was like, it's good to work out to or drive fast to.
Oh, his music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind him.
It's aggressive.
Yeah, it's just like
It's
loud.
just like in your face.
Yeah.
Well, that's what that leader of Treyway said, because he got out of prison and he said he started a record label. And then some guys go, you gotta meet this kid, Tekashi 6ix9ine. Yeah, I'm not trying to sign nobody. He's like, just look at his videos. He said he came in and like was rapping for him, like the person like this kid is just trash. Which he is. They're pretty awful. But then he said he saw his videos. These videos are different. They're his fault. So he signed him based off his videos.
So he's got an energy thing that he's.
Yeah,
But even Tekashi 6ix9ine said that he's like, like there's guys at UPS can rap. He's like, I'm just
From my videos and fire. He wasn't.
He's like, I'm just
His videos are fire.
His videos are lit.
I want to be in one.
Get some hoes. Get some hoes in his videos.
Why would he put you in
You want to be a 6ix9ine video vixen?
Yeah, right.
What do you mean? There's no dudes unless you're in Treyway.
Yeah, it was a couple of them.
Those are his homies.
His security. Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, he had black.
Unless you part Treyway.
Yeah.
That's
one way to get in.
But that doc is
One way to
pretty
get out.
good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's like,
it's
yeah.
like
I only watched the first series.
Showtime,
Just
right?
yeah, just the first hour was better than the show. I got the doc Showtime. Hulu had. You get more in one episode of Showtime than you do that entire doc.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Watch the Patrice O'Neal doc.
You watched it, dude? We tried. We couldn't find it.
It's on Comedy Central.
Comedy Central, what? Not
The app.
No, it's not. We
It is?
No, it's probably on the app. We don't
Let
have
me
the
tell you
app.
how I've been watching it.
We don't have the app.
Yeah, no, you can. It's free. I downloaded.
It wasn't on our TV, so we didn't.
Oh,
we tried to find it on YouTube. It's not on YouTube.
No, it's not. Yeah,
Jay
it's on-
watched it. Said it's good.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I love
You know, there's I don't think there could ever be another person like him. He was just something different. He was so like his biggest thing was just being honest. He's like, I have to be honest.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
sell
to-
out.
Yeah.
It kind of. What's interesting about that kind of hurt him too, right? Because like Hollywood.
And he knew that, but like he also didn't like. I mean, yeah, he didn't really care because he was enjoying what he was able to do. And he was, I don't know. It's
I heard it's really good.
It's really good. You
Dude,
know?
how about if
Like-
you go back, Chin, where you were before this? It says Bert Kreischer's Machine Store is going to be turning into a movie. I think you clicked on Patrice's thing, the YouTube thing.
The YouTube one?
Whatever the last list was.
Maybe this one? This one?
Yeah, see, Bert, the Machine Store being turned into a movie. What?
Wow.
Scroll down. Fun fact, anyone that might know Bert Kreischer's life is a movie. Long story short, when he was in college, he was very famous for that much hard money boys on the state the top party at the top party school in the country. Still good to taking the parents. You know he was going to tell this story on stage, and he was going to tell on stage. He was never telling the story. He told the story on the podcast, and he was like, that should be a bit. But anyway, he said long story short. The long story. It's the long story. Chica, okay, and
So he starts on
Russia,
Joe Rogan's podcast.
Time with Russia. Rogan and Kirk Russia tell a story on stage. You're welcome to that. Like the poetry, type of speak, and very well. I don't know. Now it looks like she's going some more life in Russia today. God, he's squeezing everything out of this story. The legendary film has option to write Precious life once again. It's time to watch the story of the future film. Pressure, female with these more. That's cool, man.
Damn.
I think we should let that keep us from trying to cast the film.
Oh, that's huge. Off a bit. He's lost a lot of weight too.
I think being fat is his plan. He can't stop it. Kreischer lost it. I'm sorry, Tom Segura. Ton of weight.
Damn, what the hell?
Tom's lost a ton of weight. Look at him, that top left one.
That's not fake.
That's fake. It's super fake.
Oh shit! I was like,
That's
yeah,
fake.
Segura.
Yo, Segura was handsome as fuck in high school.
He was training with Bradley Martin.
You trained there, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's zoo culture alumni.
But anyways, yeah, that doc, like I think every comedian should watch that fucking doc.
It's good, huh?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
Jay said it's great.
It's-
You have to watch it, man.
Yeah, you got it. So yeah, because I have that Roku TV, and I just got the conversation.
You think it was Roku? Yeah, but we didn't have the app.
Yeah.
What do you guys got for us, Chin Cat? Wait, what'd you guys do this weekend?
Yeah,
You guys are awfully quiet.
Yeah, y'all been real quiet.
Yeah, why are you working here?
What's up,
Hey,
man?
not on the road.
Yeah, not on the road.
Yeah,
You
just
on the
staying
road?
home. I'm finishing up that move. I'm like living out of boxes right now.
Chad?
I went camping and fishing again.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And we took our-
your story.
Where'd you go?
Lake Kachuma. And we took our electric bikes for the first time.
Oh, was it fun?
Dope. Yeah, super dope.
What'd you catch?
I caught one largemouth bass, but it wasn't something I would eat. So
Kill him?
no. Largemouth.
Hey, what time do you leave on Friday?
No, I haven't booked my ticket because I was wondering like how we wanted to do it. Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll either do it Thursday.
Okay, so there is a video of a older woman, I guess she's grandma, and a guy who tries to steal her purse. She actually runs after the thief, and she ends up tackling him until he lets go of the purse and drives off.
Steal the purse. Dude, how you get hawked down by a grandma? Are you so serious?
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh, she got a, damn, she's a bug.
Yeah.
DJ Metcalf.
Damn. He was just like,
It's her purse.
And he hops back into the truck, and she ends up walking away with her purse. Like nothing
gangster
happened.
grandma.
To a sandal.
Fuck yeah.
That was tight.
That was
God,
super
if,
tight.
If you're a criminal and you get hawked down by a grandma and she throws you out of the purse,
Time for you to retire.
First of all,
how do you not get
bro,
away?
look at his ass run though. He's so fucking, he's so big. Look at him run.
He's so athletic.
Bro, his fat ass.
How's the grandma toss you? That grandma's gangster, man.
Yeah, the whole downhill.
Damn, dog. He can't even fucking.
Good for her, man.
Yeah.
Sure, what a nightmare. He just
He's wearing
goes
like a
back to
moo-moo
start.
too.
Yeah.
He's on my bad.
Who was the getaway driver?
We don't know.
Oh, wait, did they grab on the other side? I forget.
Oh, they do.
That's what it is.
Shouts out to grandma.
Okay, so last week Lady Gaga's dog walker got shot and 2 of her 3 dogs were stolen. People think that it was an incident where people tracked her down, tracked down her dog walker, and tried to keep her dogs as ransom. Both of her dogs who were kidnapped actually got returned to the LAPD, and it said that the person who went and kidnapped the dogs were just trying to kidnap random dogs, not Lady Gaga's dogs. So now they're trying to find who the guy was.
So did she give him the $500,000?
Right now they're saying that her people are in talks with the woman who anonymously returned the dogs. The woman who returned the dogs, we don't know her identity, and she said that she actually found 2 dogs tied up to a pole somewhere and decided to go return it, then finding out that it was Lady Gaga's dog. So it's kind of sus, but people...
It's definitely sus.
Yeah, there's an investigation going on
Because
right
that was a
now.
worldwide tweet that she put out. She was like 500,000 for people you sent the picture to a dog.
Oh, her head of security got shot in the chest.
It was her dog
It was
walker.
her dog walker.
Like a gay, like, you know.
Yeah, just like a
flamboyant.
guy who
Yeah, regular guy.
like takes care of her dog.
He was pretty badass. If you see the video.
But yeah, her dogs are back, and they're trying to find who drove off in the white Nissan Altima.
Who shoots another dude in the chest with
Poor
a fresh
dog.
bullet?
I thought he shot 4 times. I heard something like 4 times. That's what I
just
heard.
once.
I
The
thought
chest.
it was
Or maybe shot at 4 times.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They caught him in the chest.
But he's gonna be
Look at
okay.
this.
Oh,
gonna be
he's gonna be
okay.
okay.
Yeah,
He's gonna recover.
He's
Oh,
survived.
shit.
Badass, dude. He's badass.
Yeah, he's alright. Yeah, there's been like robbery and everything's been just.
And this
high as
one's
fuck.
in
People
Hollywood
don't have
as
money.
well,
Yeah,
in
it's in
that
Hollywood?
same area. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it could be tied to the people that Jack Stevens were real well.
Yeah. You gotta be careful when you're in the West Hollywood area.
What else you got?
Okay, so Hasbro.
I like how you keep the Rolex down right now.
I know.
There you go.
They're sending me a lot of videos. So it was like, watch out, Rolly. I got you.
So Hasbro has officially dropped the name Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head from their main packaging. They're saying that they're not getting rid of the actual characters, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, but from now on, when they're marketing the toy, they're gonna just say the Potato Head. So you can kind of go ahead and
So
create
you
whatever
give
you want.
whatever?
Yeah, it's just a marketing.
This is just
thing.
marketing.
Yeah.
They're not that way.
They're not that
It's
way.
just marketing.
Yeah.
When's the last time things like that?
Yeah.
We have
Before
some.
this
My
one.
kids have some. Oh, you know, like, to put the fucking.
Yeah, I didn't know people were still popping with potato heads.
Well, now we're talking about shit.
I know.
Damn, look what we just did.
Alright.
And then
Yeah.
Hey.
this was submitted by Bruno72 on Instagram. He wants you guys to react to Tommy Fury winning his fight and being ripped as well.
So he's 185 right now? He's fights at that
What's cruiserweight?
the one right below him.
He not good. His shoulder is so long. Yeah. Is he still with Molly May?
Yep, she made his shorts that he fought in.
Is there like a video of him when he knocked the dude out?
Those are the shorts she made.
God, he's shredded. Bodied up.
I keep forgetting he's only
Oh,
21.
shit.
Young guy.
How old is he?
21.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
Whole future.
Yeah, him and Tyson have the same papa. Different. Okay. Aw. Damn. Just young. That's their dad, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, shout out to Tommy Fury.
That's good.
Bodied up.
He'll be a zoo coach for real.
What else you got?
Okay, this is I thought this was just really weird. So Chrissy Teigen, she like begged Biden to follow her, and then finally Biden followed her on Twitter, and then later on she's like, please unfollow me, because she can't be herself, because she thinks that the president's watching her, and she can't be herself and say, cuss.
It's just a thing.
I know, shit trying. And he did unfollow her. Like, he only follows like 10 people or something like that.
She was one of them.
Yeah.
She's just, it's like, when you're her, you gotta figure out ways to stay up.
I'm sorry, I said. Chrissy, she just, oh my God. She replied back to fans. Hey, she just like so. I'm like, girl, you can't get nice like that. You married to John Legend. You know what I mean? So
Is John Legend quiet?
yeah, you don't hear from him. You hear from her.
He's definitely more chill.
He's chilling.
Yeah.
She's just like, dude.
And she's on there.
She's out there.
I'm like,
But this is also how she's gonna make her money. Like she's
That's
like
how,
an internet
I mean, she's no different than an Instagram crowd. Oh, that's how she
Yeah, this is like her whole thing.
reply to hate comments?
Yeah. This is how like
She makes a
ton of money.
Oh, she,
Look,
on everything
she has
she
that
doesn't
cookware,
miss.
too.
She makes a shit ton. But what's she famous for? I don't know what she's
She is
She was
a
a
model,
Sports Illustrated
and then-
swimsuit model, and then married to John Legend, and then she has talent, and she's a personality. Like, I know people that work with her, they say she's like, as far as
smart.
like humor and wit, she's
Yeah.
a beast.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Well, yeah,
That's
it's
exactly
not a
what she-
mistake. Yeah. I don't know much about Chrissy Teigen.
Her clapbacks. Shit, you go to her page, all you see is clapbacks.
Oh, she ready for it?
Bro,
That's
Which
just
is weird.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Don't you have kids?
Yeah, right.
You know?
Now it's starting to set in a little bit.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Yeah.
Did you hear about this plane in Bloomfield, Colorado?
I saw that.
Where debris was dropping off of it? And this thing, yeah. So this thing actually fell down, but no one got injured. No one actually got hurt. It landed on cars. And then you can see. So imagine that. You seeing that? The engine exploded, and it's still flying.
Yeah, you'd be nervous. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama are having a podcast on Spotify.
You know, I told Cal about this last week. Yeah.
I talked.
You know, I forgot. I was like, wait, didn't we already know that? No, when we went for lunch, I told Callan. He's like, I'll listen to that. I'm like, I told him. Oh, that was at lunch.
Oh, okay. So I thought I
know.
missed
I was
it
like,
somehow.
did we say this? Yeah.
So there you go.
But then Bruce just got hit with a DUI. So I wonder.
After the podcast announcement?
Oh yeah.
That's one issue.
That'd be something to talk on. I don't give a.
Yeah, right.
Oh, dismissed.
Oh yeah, dude, he's the boss. Look, he looks good for his age. I'm too small to strap to the gear. But then he had a commercial with Jeep, and that's called commercials because he's like driving the Jeep and shit. He got busted with Jeep. There goes those marketing dollars. Him little Obama, I won't listen to it, but Brian will. That's like an older man podcast.
They have such a huge fan base. Both are like,
Oh, I bet that podcast.
Yeah, it's gonna blow up.
But it's not like a weekly podcast. It's a 6-part series.
Oh, so it's just gonna be a series.
Obama and him have way too much to do.
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah. Why listen to it if it's only 6 parts?
All right, Daft Punk, after 28 years, split up, and they didn't give any actual reason why that they're retiring. They said
They've been quiet for a minute. They haven't even like done a live. They haven't done
that last one that they
live
did
tour or anything.
with Pharrell.
Yeah,
That song that was sick, and that was it, right? I
That
mean,
was it.
yeah, that one.
yeah, they were dope too because they were. I saw an article on Rolling Stone. They did an article where they met with the writer, and the guy was like, "It's crazy because they're like the #1 song in the world. They're like no one harasses them, no one bothers them.
Yeah.
Because they've known them for like nothing else. That's the thing.
Similar thing
Yeah.
with Marshmello and Sia. Like you can find photos of them, but
Sia, you can't. A little more so now.
kind of, yeah. Like you can find photos of them.
But
It's
Marshmello
just,
and them, like,
Yeah, they
No,
know.
you gotta be an Uber fan to be like, oh shit, that's Daft Punk.
Obviously, no, yeah. Their last live show was like 2007.
Damn, live show.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And they broke up on the day that Bobby Shmurda was released from jail.
I wonder where they broke that.
Probably just because they're like, yo, we haven't done a live show since 2007.
I know, but why not the break up?
They could have stayed silent, yeah.
Why not just?
What was their last album?
Random Access in 2013.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah, I don't even think they didn't even tour that record.
That's a fire record too.
Yeah.
Everything's fucking sick of each other.
Oh, but their music is, I mean, just as instrumental as guitars and electronic, they're great. Yeah.
Fucking dude. That's what was that from.
Remember that kid that fought the quarterback, the wide receiver dude?
Yes.
His name is Walker Brown. He set up a GoFundMe because he said that something happened before. That's why we see him do.
That's why his blood.
That blood is us. He can't talk about it right now, but he needs help with his legal fees, and then he'll talk about it afterwards. So he set up a GoFundMe for like 50 grand, and within 48 hours it already surpassed it.
They did?
Yeah.
Where's he at?
People reached out. But as always, there's more to the story than what it is in the video that he's not showing the original style. That was something that was done. Eventually, before the footage, as you can see my friend's face, and working with them. Mr. Brown received several injuries with one bicep surgery.
He said he was laughing with the comments about people talking about his cowboy boots.
Oh, yeah. The cowboy boots.
Everything we talked about here. Yeah.
Well, I hope they get the home shit once up.
Let's see where it's at. 62.
Oh, shit.
So he only asked for 50, nights. Does he get to keep the 13?
Of course. Yeah. And let's check this out. How cool is this, man? So this
Did you see these last week, Chip?
oh, we should. This thing was found in the Australian forest, right? It escaped. It escaped the original farm. And check it out. That's how it looked in the forest.
Oh, wait, how did nature intend them to be, man?
That's kind of cool. It was actually from a cattle ranch before, but it escaped, so it just grew all the stuff out. It had to be shaved.
How long was it out there?
I forgot how long, but look at him now.
Yeah. Damn, Mr. Steel here.
Motherfucker.
He lost 60 pounds.
Yeah.
He feels so good.
Dude, 78 pounds of wool.
He looked like
77.
shit.
Oh.
He was like, this is at night. I want to go back to that farm.
I can't walk.
Look at him now, though.
Yeah.
He killing.
Damn.
And his name is Brock, too. Rock. Like with multiple A's. Yeah.
Oh, Barak.
He's cool. He got his toothpick in his
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah, too. He's chilling.
Bro, look at him.
Bro, cool leg.
He's happy as fuck.
So,
I like his fit, too.
yeah.
That was dope, too.
Thanks, man. I better like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
All right, thank you.
He looks so fucking
He's tough,
bro. Poor guy.
can't see.
70, bro, pounds of wood.
They have to be shaved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they're out in nature, what like they're wild sheep?
I don't think these are the ones that you find in the wild.
So the fox, but there's actually some wild sheep.
I mean, it's like dogs. You know, after a certain amount of human intervention, they become something else.
For eating.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did depend on
Like
you.
pigs, right?
No, there's wild pigs.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's domesticated pigs and they're wild.
Yeah.
But are there wild sheep though? Because if they have to be shaved,
Yeah.
But we've seen a wild hog and wild sheep. The wild hogs don't play around either. They're rolling tags, bro. They'll mess you up. Are unable to shed.
Oh, they can overheat and die.
Maybe that's just how they died in the wild.
They die in the wild?
No, let's say that they are in the wild. This is us just like making assumptions. Yeah. Maybe that's how they end up dying.
Yeah, if any predator doesn't decide to eat them.
That too.
They can't really defend themselves either.
I'm saying, like, let's say a fox sees that big ass sheep. How does he take them down?
How they go natural evolution. What did you say?
See, sheep have been bred by humans for millennia with the goal of selective preference.
Interesting. Yeah, if they don't have human, how do you get it? This would have teeth. What?
Made of wool.
I think it's fun. Wool is like the thicker material that's used for coats.
Oh, it's a coat, wool coat. Yeah, it's like well, you know what I was trying to say.
No.
No, because I quote.
No. A wool shirt would be awful. A wool so hot. No. Shut it down. You got like our shirts are made of wool.
Polyester.
Hey, and Valley be rolling the dice on the shit he's saying.
Hey, sometimes I crap out.
He just fucking.
Sometimes like there's that stuff I wish it was like Star Trek where you just beam out of it.
Just beam, you know.
Just beam the back of my head. Like where's Remy going?
I love how Trump tried to take me. Wouldn't it be like a coat?
I know, right?
That's what I
I
mean.
knew where you were trying to go.
Thank you.
I understood where you're
I was in that area.
There's some materials made of wool, not our shirts. But I'll be tight.
No, you don't gotta Google it.
I think it has to be. I think it has to be.
There's some long ones that.
But it's not that known for.
Yeah, so
The
again,
shirt you're wearing is cotton, but most shirts are cotton.
What about that? Wait,
Just gonna look it up.
that one. That's like a lighter.
Merino
that
wool.
just says woolly.
Ultralight short sleeve. 100% merino fabric. Merino fabric. I think merino is wool, but I don't know.
It's a different kind, right?
Yeah.
All right, now yeah.
Let me beam him.
Please do. If you assume the shirts everybody's wearing are wool, get me the fuck out of here, man. You really thought everybody's shirt was wool? It's so
You didn't
disappointing.
say like a shirt.
I know, like this thing wool, man. And
Like your shirt, my shirt, that shirt.
we all wear wool.
So it's important when you're born, y'all. We need to think about this shit. Man, y'all even thinking about it?
I was disappointed.
That's it.
All right, man. Go see Chappelle Lacey this Friday, Saturday in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
Vulcan Gas Company, March 5th and 6th. Chappelle Lacey. Then me and this crew back on the road, Cleveland, Ohio, March 11th through 13th. Spokane, Washington. The only tickets available right now, all shows are sold out except for the Thursday late show, which is March 18th. Happens to be my B-Day. We're probably going to add shows for Friday and Saturday, so don't be mad. We'll add shows. Just wait for it. And then March 25th through 27th, Miami, Florida, Miami Improv. Get your tickets now, SATKE.com. This thick maroon hoodie you see me wearing will be available in maroon, black, and that varsity jacket you see me wearing on the pods and the shows. The one I wore was Matt's Hallway and Food Truck Diaries. Available this Friday, 10 a.m. BigBoy.com. And that jacket price point, I think is either $59.99 or $69.99. Either way, that dope ass varsity jacket is a great fucking price. Big Boy Nation hoodies and jackets this Friday, 10 a.m. BigBoy.com. Got it, kids?
That's it.
Health is tight.
Health is tight. We're out.
That's
Fucking do it.
So I'm graduating from LA for a new tour today because I got the cool grade 4s, you know what I'm saying? See if those have That's why he's acting weird with you. What happened? I didn't go home last night. I didn't go home. Shit, I didn't want to do a shoot. You didn't want to do a shoot? Shit, I didn't want to do a goddamn shoot camp. I got all TLC 6 right 3 holes on. Look at all bad in the front. So bad. Dude, here's the other problem. They're loose again. They're not loose. They're gonna zoom in. Check this out. The shoestrings always tied them. Hey, okay, Chili. I said we had to do shoe camp today. You talking about this put now we're taking a hard L on shoe camp. I love these very much. I love them though. The company sucks. Shit, that Astro World is. Oh shit. $1,000 sister. Oh gosh. I'll be back Wednesday.
Good to be here today. Good to be with you alive. We are living here in time.